All right, everybody. Welcome to the Central Committee stream with your host, Mike from PA. We are live once again. How is everybody doing today? I'm not trying to be delusional here, but I don't think the trial is going very well for the Kirk killer. I don't think it's going very well. I mean, that being said, the type of people that usually get picked. Mythic trade? What the fuck is a mythic trade? Why the fuck are they doing a mythic trade 15 minutes into my stream? What the fuck is a mythic trade? As an ultra rare specialty hype trade showing 3 possible golden emotes to earn. Everyone, the golden emotes to earn are selected random and received until the train ends. Everyone who contributed receives the same emote. Okay, all right, so it's a golden kappa hype trade. It's just, we have a golden PogChamp. Okay, cool. Guys, we have the ultra rare specialty hype trade where you can unlock an unbelievably rare and desirable emote for an unbelievably generous 24 hours. Think about that, chat. 24 hours. You get to use a golden emote. Wow. Think about it, guys. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's 10 seconds, okay? That seemed like a pretty long time as I was counting. Am I right? That was a pretty long time. 10 seconds. Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, if you think about 24 hours, it's 24 hours in a day. And that's 60 minutes in an hour. And then 60 seconds in a minute. You are talking about an unbelievable 86,400 seconds of a golden emote. I mean, when I woke up this morning, I thought to myself, holy shit, I might be able to use an emote on the website, twitch.tv, for 86,400 seconds. That's incredible. Thank you, Twitch, for this incredibly generous benefit. So don't miss out, guys. You need to sub or resub, gift at least 1 sub, use your Prime sub or 200 bits, and you'll be able to use one of 3 exclusive emotes for 86,400 seconds. I don't know about you guys, but this makes me want to sing. This makes me want to sing We Are Charlie Kirk, the Mandarin dub. No, I'm kidding. We're not gonna do it. I actually hate it. I hate We Are Charlie Kirk. Are you surprised? Are you surprised that I hate We Are Charlie Kirk? I do too. It's okay. Thank God. One of the things that really bothers me about it is Hassan promised me to be anti-music, right? He's supposed to be a fellow autistic who's anti-music. And I'm not anti-music, by the way, right? I just don't think that he would like good music. I mean, like, come on, let's be honest. You know what I mean? Like, let's just be honest, okay? And he breaks his anti-music pledge for We Are Charlie Kirk, which is AI slop of the highest order. You guys want my biggest party pooper stinker opinion about We Are Charlie Kirk? You want to hear my like most left-wing annoying Mike's shut the fuck up opinion about We Are Charlie Kirk? It helps normalize AI music slop. It makes liking AI music slop okay leftistly. I know. It's such an annoying opinion. I'm so sorry. And the thing is, like, we've fallen for it before. Like, when it first came out, when like AI music first came out, we had a Joseph Tito song that Awake Wilder made, and it was fucking awesome. And it was funny because no one would ever make a highly produced song like that, right? And it seemed harmless. But the way that the capitalists are moving, it's not good. So I don't know. I mean, that being said, like, I'm not anti-AI. Like, I think that the way that it's being done in America, I'm against it, right? Like, it's like, I'll give you an analogy. It's like somebody saying, I'm against electricity. And it's like, why? And they're like, well, look at the coal plants that America has, the pollution and the fucking mountaintop removal and the way that they're like killing people in the coal mines and all, you know what I mean? Like, you're talking about electricity, But what you're really talking about is the evil way in which this technology is being developed and deployed, as opposed to like, well, maybe we could have some sort of like, you know, the LLMs have some sort of utility. You know what I mean? Like that's like generally the way I feel towards it. And it's so, but it's hard to like separate the two, right? So anyway, that's just Mike being Mike. I'm so sorry. I know I'm too much sometimes. I know. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Oh, okay. Can I talk about some, since we're doing a hype train and it's, you know, it's like the first 20 minutes of the stream and I just started talking. Can we talk about something that I found really cute and awesome and something that I want to support? So, the Rhode Island DSA is running a candidate as an independent for state legislature. Brittany for Rhode Island. And I talked to her yesterday after stream. So, and then I gave her $100 because the Rhode Island state rep seats are very small. They're like 17,000 people per district, which is like super small. So I think we might be able to pull this off. And I think it might be fun. You know, it would be good to have like somebody running as a Democratic Socialist as an independent. So I wanted to help that out. I tweeted it yesterday. I gave $100. So if you're in Rhode Island DSAers, I'm 100% behind your run for Brittany. Now I'm about to piss all the Rhode Island DSAers off because there's a socialist running for mayor, and DSA kicked him out for voting for the guy who was going to win. Like when he was a state legislator who was voted for the basically the Democratic Party's selection for speaker, and they kicked him out for that. And I don't like that. I think that's not the way we should engage with our socialists in office, right? We have to give people legislative like ability to operate. You know, like if we're going to elect legislators, I don't believe in having an abstentionist block. I don't think that's a good strategy. I think we should be just trying to get as much concessions for the working class as we can. I don't think that, you know, I don't agree with like just going there and being like, I'm not going to participate with anything and I'm not going to vote for anything. And when I say anything, it's like the speaker is who is not the same thing as like violating your principles on, say, Gaza, or voting for a bill that bans BDS or something, right? It's basically the like force the vote mentality. And I think that that's the opposite of what DSA should be doing. I think in co-governance, we should not be nitpicking every single procedural vote that our socialists make. And so I just disagree with that decision to do an expulsion over that. That just seems to be, you know, a bit way too. It has the chapter doing stuff that it shouldn't be doing, right? Which is holding our socialists in office to some standard that we don't even know what it is, right? Like we're just kind of ad hoc going, I don't like the fact that you were in coalition with a centrist Democrat. And it's like, well, what are you against? Like, what specifically did they vote for that you don't like? And it's like, well, it's just the coalitioning. And that's part of legislating. You're going to be a coalition with people you don't like. Until you have a majority of socialists in the chamber, you are necessarily going to have to be a coalition with liberals to accomplish some task. So I don't think that's a good way of approaching things. Didn't too much abstentionism help the rise of fascism in Italy? I don't agree with abstentionism in general as a strategy. I don't think it works. Like I have studied a lot of movements, a lot of movements in history. I don't know of anyone when abstentionism was like a really good idea. Thank you guys so much for the mythical trade. Hell yeah. Okay. Now we're banging. Now we're fucking banging. Let's go. Hell yeah. I appreciate all of you. Anyway, long story short, I like you, Rhode Island DSA. I don't know if I agree with that. So because they expelled this guy, he's not in DSA, but he ran for mayor and he's gonna win. And so now DSA is not part of that. And again, if he had done something else that I don't know about, that's fine. But now DSA is now outside of the victory party in Rhode Island. over a vote that honestly, who cares? Holy shit, you guys got cool cat. You got a golden cool cat? As someone who lives in Rhode Island, it sucks. Yeah, it's all right. I mean, like, listen, I disagree with their decision. You know, ultimately, all I'm going to do is try to persuade you guys that this is not anti-comradely. I just have an opinion, you know, and I think that if you agree with me, you should form a block in Rhode Island DSA and try to get leadership, right? Like, and be like, hey, like, we think that this strategy of such harsh, negative, micromanagement of socialists at office and this hostility and this is not a winning strategy for building working class power in the long term. Thoughts on RIDSA accusing Gustavo of counter organizing? I think that that's not correct. If they are neutral in a race, meaning they don't support someone, and a member of DSA goes and organizes for one of the candidates, as long as it's not using DSA money and it's not using DSA, he's not doing it under the banner of New York City DSA, then that's him as an individual person endorsing a race. That's not counter organizing. Counter organizing would be if there was a DSA candidate in the race and then Gustavo went and organized for another candidate. That would be bad. That I'd be really against. Gustavo and Grace didn't even speak at the fundraiser. I don't see a problem with what they did. I'll be completely honest with you. I don't see a problem with what they did at all. Especially if this guy, like, you know what I mean? Like, you could throw, you know what I mean? Like, I'm sorry, but it is what it is. I'm shocked to discover that Rhode Island is real and people live there. Honestly, here's my opinion. Why don't we have more congressional members out of New England? We should have more DSA members in New England. It's fucking tiny. It's compact. It's full of like progressive upper middle class people, the exact type of people that love DSA. No, I'm kidding. But you get my point. Like Rhode Island should have DSA members representing it. I'm from Providence. Like is right. I think you mean Mike. But yeah. No, of course. All right. So what are we doing today? We're at 2,000 viewers. That's enough. Let's get started. Oh my God, the Charlie Kirk case. Okay, a couple things. One, let me just say the meltdowns. I have a feeling, as much as I want to believe it's going to end, I feel like the meltdowns over the Graham Plattner situation have gotten to a point where it's actually like, I think a lot of people are seeing their gravy train going away because whining about Graham Plattner was like such a cash cow. And I'm honest to God, like, it's like, okay, they got like 3 more weeks of this Graham Plattner whining. Oh, thank God. And then hopefully it'll be over soon. It's going to get worse before it gets better. Yeah, I know. Holy shit. We call it the Troy Jackson situation now for name rec. I mean, Troy has name rec. They're never going to stop talking about it. They'll bring it up forever. I mean, yeah, that's probably true. It definitely feels like Hillary Clinton 2016, but for ultras, right? You know what I mean? Where it's going to be like, we were right about Graham Plattner being bad forever and all time. That is probably true. They don't get a lot right. So they're going to be talking about this for a while. Oh yeah, Moon. Oh my God. I need to make a video about this. Holy shit. This is like right down my wheelhouse. Bin Face or whatever he is. The far right leader, Nigel Farage, is running against a joke candidate. Every other party is dropping out. So it's going to be Count Binface versus Nigel Farage. This is one of the most incredible political situations of all time. Unironic support for Count Binface. I think Count Binface has a good chance of winning this thing. Are DSA the new face of the Democratic Party? Yes, we are. Also, quick query, chat. I don't watch a lot of the ultra channels, but did any of them watch this Claire conversation? Like, did any of them talk about Claire Valdez and her like amazing foreign policy and talking about sanctioning Israel and anything like that? Did any of them talk about it? Like all the anti-imperialist guys. They talk about Claire at all? Like when she was campaigning or like now that she's won? Define ultra channels. Channels that spend most of their time talking about how elections are bad, but don't actually do anything else. Ultra leftists are people who basically, if you read Michael Parenti, here's a good example of what they are. It's like Michael Parenti on socialist. Oh, what is the speech called? Oh, fuck. He has a really good speech on it. He's an asset of the deep state. He's a bin. Is fucking it. Michael Parenti, it's like on actually existing socialism and its critics. Oh, wait, that might have been the video. He talks about like, is this just comparing? There's like, all right.
I have a video here of Michael Parenti talking about the...
Okay, shut up, Midwestern
You could
Marks.
look at any existing socialist country. If you don't want to call them socialist, call them whatever you want. Post-capitalist, whatever. I don't care. Call them camels, window shades. Doesn't matter. As long as we know the countries we're talking about. You can look at any one of those countries, and you can evaluate them in several ways. One, comparing them to what they had before. And that, to me, is what's very compelling. That's what's so compelling about Cuba, for instance. When I was in Cuba, I was up in the Escambray, which is like the Appalachia of Cuba, very rugged mountains, the people, very poor they were. And I said to this campesino, I said, do you like Fidel? And he said, sí, with all our souls. I remember his gesture, with all our souls. I said, why? And he pointed to this clinic right up there on the hill, which we had visited. He said, look at that. He said, before the revolution, we never saw a doctor. If someone was seriously ill, it would take 20 people to carry that person, because you'd go day and night. It would take 2 days to get to the hospital. First, because it was far away, and second, because you couldn't go straight. You couldn't cross the latifundio lands. The boss would kill you, so you had to go like this. And often when we got to the hospital, the person might be dead by the time we got there. Now we have this clinic up here with a full-time doctor. And today, a doctor in Cuba, when you become a doctor, you've got to spend 2 years out in the country. That's your dedication to the people. And a dentist who...
I heard about your channel but never followed, but after hearing those channels are going after Struggle 4 for being a veteran made me decide I need to follow you and stop watching them. Wait, who's going after Struggle 4? Who the fuck's going after Struggle 4? Marcus is great.
Comes 1 day a week. And for more serious things, we're not more than 20 minutes away from a larger hospital. That's in the Escambray. I said, that's freedom. We're freer today. We have more life. And I talked to a guy in Havana who says to me, before, all I used to see here in Havana, you call this drab and dull. We see it as a cleaner city. It's true, you got the paint is peeling off the walls, but you don't see kids begging in the streets anymore, and you don't see prostitutes. All we used to have was prostitutes. Prostitution used to be one of the biggest industries. And today, this man is going to night school. He said, I can read. I can read. Do you know what it means to be able to read? Do you know what it means to be able not to read? I remember when I gave my book to my father, I dedicated a book of mine, Power and the Powerless, to my father. I said, to my father with my love. Gave him a copy of the book. He opened it up, looked at that. He'd only gone to the 7th grade. He was a...
According to YouTube transcripts, Madame Panada has mentioned Plattner 221 times and one mention of Claire Valdez. He probably just attacked her in the mention, right? Which is in passing. Yeah, I mean, like, it doesn't surprise me, right? Like, again... When you actually do have a socialist in office who's running a anti-imperialist platform, they don't give a fuck because she's not viral. You know, Claire Valdez is not going viral. That's it. So no one talks about her. I talk about her because it's important that you see someone so fucking awesome, but she's not going viral. You know, so like, again, it doesn't. Same thing with Summer Lee. She's not going viral. I mean, we've tried and she's going more viral now, actually. But when I first started talking about her, there was basically no one talking about her in the online left. Why? Because they don't give a shit about anything.
Son of an immigrant, a working class Italian. And he opens the book and he starts looking through it and he gets misty-eyed, very misty-eyed. And I thought it's because he was so touched that his son had dedicated a book to him. That wasn't the reason. He looks up to me and says, I can't read this, kid. I said, that's okay, Dad. Neither can the students. I mean, that's not something... I mean, don't worry about that. I wrote it for you. I mean, it's your book, and you don't have to read it. You know, it's a very complicated book, an academic book. I said, yeah, I can't read this book. And he just... And the defeat that man felt. That's what illiteracy is about. That's what the joy of literacy programs is. That's why in Nicaragua you got people walking proud now for the first time. They were animals before. They weren't allowed to read. They weren't taught to read. So you compare a country to what it came from, with all its imperfections. And those who demand instant perfection, the day after the revolution, they get up and say, are there civil liberties for the fascists? Are they going to be allowed to have their newspapers and their radio program? Are they going to be able to keep all their farms? The passion that some of our liberals feel, the day after the revolution, the passion and concern they feel for the fascists, the civil rights and civil liberties of those fascists who were dumping and destroying and murdering people before. Now the revolution has got to be perfect. It's got to be flawless. Well, that isn't my criteria. My criteria is what happens to those people who couldn't read. What happens to those babies that couldn't eat, that died of hunger? And that's why I support revolution. The revolution that feeds the children gets my support. Not blindly, not unqualifiedly. And the Reaganite government that tries to stop that kind of process, that tries to keep those people in poverty and illiteracy and hunger, that gets my undiluted animosity and opposition.
Wow.
and that's largely the point, right? Like, I don't judge people by what they are against. I judge them by what they're for. Being against stuff that sucks is easy, but show me what you're building. Show me your W's. Show me your wins. Show me the structures that you have created that challenge the status quo, that challenge the hierarchy, that challenge capitalism, that are prevailing or making any progress at all. Show me what you're building, not just what you're critiquing.
Regarding the Soviet Union, here was a nation that threw back and destroyed the Nazi beast and sustained 80% of the Allied losses in the war, 22 million dead. I thought that was a debt that humanity owed the Soviet people. Here was a nation that in 3 decades made industrial advances equal to what it took capitalism a century to accomplish, while feeding and schooling its children rather than working them 14 hours a day, as the capitalists did during the Industrial Revolution, as capitalists...
Are we not worried that Trump will just take the DSA member list to throw everyone in jail, calling them Antifa? Well, I mean, if we don't win the midterms, if we don't take power out of the hands of the fascists, if they're able to rig the elections, if they're able to keep power, if Donald Trump is able to continue to get whatever money to do whatever the fuck he wants and there's no accountability at all, then yeah, of course there's a risk. And it wouldn't just be DSA. It would be basically anyone who has ever criticized Trump. They have, you know what I mean? It wouldn't just stop at DSA, right? Do you think the big public liberals are also fine under fascism? No, of course they're not.
Still doing today in many parts of the world. Here was a nation that provided vital assistance, material, military, medical, armed assistance to liberation movements in Vietnam, Cuba, Nicaragua, South Africa, Angola, and other countries. As Nelson Mandela pointed out, I heard him on a TV show in Washington when he was visiting here in 1990, and the announcer, of course, was doing his usual things. Says, well, the U.S. has done this and the Soviets have done that, so we know both. He's doing the balancing act. You have to always do that. Dumping on both of them. Said, what do you say, Mr. Mandela? And Mandela said, please do not denounce the Soviet Union. They have been our great friends and given us valuable aid in the struggle against apartheid and racism. Only Mandela could get away with saying that on national TV. Here was one of the few countries that, for all its injustices and dysfunctional structures, and I am going to talk about those things, be patient, did guarantee its citizens some minimal economic security. Here was another positive thing that's never mentioned, a country that performed the rescue and survival of 3 million Soviet Jews during World War II. I mean, many Jews were killed in World War II because many Russians, period, because they were just in the war and fighting. But 3 million Soviet Jewish civilians were saved, which is more than you can say happened to Jews in Poland and most of Eastern Europe, in Germany and Croatia. Left anti-communism was, and it still is, as orthodox and dogmatic as the mainstream or the more extreme McCarthyite varieties, in that it doesn't tolerate anything positive being uttered about existing communist systems, except possibly Cuba. For some reason, and the Cuban system is exactly a Soviet system. A one-party, women's federations, the role of the trade union movement, the role of the youth groups is exactly the same model. But Cuba is kind of looked at warmly, which is nice. I guess we'd be grateful for small things.
Well, it was. It used to be, but after the fall of the Soviet Union, you know, it's been for the most part bullied. Obama was the only liberal who was like, all right, maybe we could just let Cuba be normal. We could normalize relations with Cuba like we're normalizing relations with Vietnam or China, right? But for some reason, there is this unhinged hatred of Cuba and of North Korea that is like way outsized their actual negative impact. And it's because it's embarrassing to the US that North Korea defeated them in the Korean War. It's embarrassing to the US that Cuba, just 100 miles offshore, has remained resistant to US domination for a century, right? So that's the embarrassment.
Left anti-communism expects nothing less than a blanket condemnation of communist countries as Stalinist monstrosities, historic and moral aberrations. I prefer what psychologists call differential object appraisal, that you look at something and you see it in very differentiated things. Some things good, some things not so good, regardless of what the political orthodoxy is, regardless of what the advice is about maintaining your credibility, and so making sure that you say these other things. In reaction to this anti-Sovietism, anti-communism, many communists overcompensated by going to the other extreme, by refraining from uttering or even tolerating, listening to a critical word about the autocratic or problematic features of the Soviet Union. Problem-ridden features. I got into more than one altercation trying to make a criticism of the Soviet system with friends and acquaintances in the Communist Party. I can recall a friend of mine, a party member here in the U.S., who assured me that there was no prostitution in the Soviet Union. I mean, here was a woman, she was in her mid-40s, a grown woman of some experience, saying to me that in this nation of, 300 million people, there was no prostitution. I remember, I couldn't believe it. I remember when I was in the
I'm pretty sure there was some black market prostitution. You can't, but comparing that to what happened after the fall of the Soviet Union, where children were driven into prostitution by the millions, yeah, I'd say that living under the Soviet Union was probably preferable to the collapse that has come under Putinite oligarchism, which was the direct result of America installing Yeltsin and fighting against even a social democratic left. Gorbachev was stupid. Gorbachev thought, I'll go to the United States and we'll implement a Nordic style model. We'll reform our system and we'll try to implement a Nordic style model. That was Gorbachev's, idea. And what happened is, no, they collapsed the Soviet Union. They installed Yeltsin, the drunk fascist right winger, and they did shock therapy neoliberalism, where they destroyed the economy completely and raided all the state assets.
Union in Moscow, the guy saying to me,
"What do you mean the USA installing Yeltsin? He was elected, no? United States of America and the CIA extensively intervened in the elections." like what are you saying? And then when Yeltsin was falling off in popularity, we did everything we could to discredit the Communist Party in the elections. Quote,
"There was no prostitution in my country." Another grown, mature woman. And I said to her, there may be no prostitution in your country, but there's a hell of a lot of it here in this hotel. Let's get real. Come on, let's get real. We're talking about this very messy, imperfect thing called a human being. And the social organizations they developed, which are even more messy and imperfect than they. Well, you know what her response was? She said, without batting an eye, she said, "Well, those women also have regular jobs during the day, I would like to know." Thereby giving new meaning to the term working girl. Some say that the upheavals in Eastern Europe don't constitute a defeat for socialism, because socialism never existed in those countries. What you had there was state capitalism, or some such thing. Well, whether we want to call them socialists or not is a matter of definition. Suffice it to say that they constituted something different from what existed in the profit-driven capitalist world, as the capitalists themselves were quick and persistent to recognize. First, the productive forces in these countries were not organized for capital gain and private enrichment, as with capitalism. Public ownership supplanted private ownership. The perks that were enjoyed by party and government elites were relatively modest. compared to the elites in most civilizations. Yes, it's true, Soviet leaders like Yuri Andropov and Brezhnev had big dachas where they entertained foreign visitors. Yes, it's true they had limousine services and they lived in fairly large apartments in a housing project specially set aside for government leaders near the Kremlin. I saw it. It's a big, ugly old, very inauspicious building. That's where the leaders of the Soviet Union lived. But it was larger than what ordinary Soviets would get. But nobody...
Like, listen to the like criticism of the Soviet Union that used to happen, which was like, oh my God, the leader of the Soviet Union has a large apartment. Like, that was literally that was the criticism. Look how unequal. They have a large apartment and they get a single car.
The Soviet Union could hire the labor of others and extract great personal wealth from that labor. The degree of inherited wealth was also relatively modest and limited. The income spread between highest and lowest earners in the Soviet Union was about 3 or 4 to 1, as compared to 40 or 50 to 1 in the U.S. In fact, I did a little computation. If you compare Steve Forbes, multi-billionaire Steve Forbes' income to a poverty-level wage earner, the spread is more like 10,000 to 1, 10,000 times to 1. Furthermore, communist countries did not pursue the capital penetration of other countries. They didn't have a profit motive as their motive force. They didn't have a need to constantly find new investment opportunities to be able to invest more, to accumulate more, to invest more abroad as under capitalism. The Soviet Union's trade and aid relations were generally economically favorable to Eastern European nations, Cuba, and India. A real socialism, it's argued, would be controlled by the workers themselves through direct participation instead of being run by Leninists, Stalinists, Castroites, or other ill-willed, evil leaders and bureaucrats who betray revolutions, we hear. Well, unfortunately, this pure socialism view is profoundly ahistorical and non-falsifiable. By that I mean it remains untestable against the actualities of history. It compares an ideal against an imperfect reality, and sure enough, reality comes off a poor second. The pure socialist ideological anticipations remain untainted by existing practice. They don't explain how a complex revolutionary society could be built and secured, how priorities could be set, how survival could be achieved by just having the workers own and control everything. How do you expropriate enough surplus value to build an army to defend yourself against the invasion that comes? It's no surprise that the pure socialists support every revolution except the ones that succeed. The pure socialists usually blame the left for every defeat by the left. They weren't vigorous enough, they weren't resourceful enough, they didn't mobilize the people enough, they didn't do this enough, they didn't do that enough, they didn't do this enough. They presume to know better than those engaged in the actual struggles. And it's unfortunate that they haven't found time to apply their own brilliant insights and leadership genius to producing a successful mass revolutionary movement in our own country.
And I feel like that's kind of the world we're in, right? Like, we have a group of people who largely, I would consider them the remoras of the online left, right? Which is, they exist to create a movement, a milieu of people who are not actually active in politics, not actually active in the movement, don't feel any responsibility. And it creates this kind of psychological bubble of I'm the consigliere to the left, right? I'm the advisor to the left. I stand over here and I say, yo, DSA, you've got a lot of problems over there in the DSA. Now, okay, what org are you running with? What org are you a member of? What are they doing differently? What ideas do you have and how have they been tested? And like, so what I want to get all of you to do is start asking yourselves, what are the fruits of these people? Like, that's what you need to do. And obviously when you try to cook, sometimes you're going to burn it, you know, sometimes it's going to be it's not going to come off well, you know. That's the process of trying to actually create. You're going to have fuck ups, you're going to make mistakes, you're going to cut your thumb, right? But if all you do is watch people who do not engage in actual politics at all, they are fucking useless. I need you to understand that. They are actually fundamentally useless. If they have no fruits, if they have no people they can point to and say, hey, I helped make that, I'm a small part of that, then they are actually fucking useless. Here's an example of what I'm talking about. Fran was getting roasted because she went on my stream and Hassan's stream, partially through attacks that come from many of these same people who have smeared us as bigots, right? The people who say like, I'm going to hold Mike and Hassan accountable by taking clips out of context and pushing the idea that they're bigots, right? And then it gets picked up by our enemies, literal Nazis, literal Zionists, to try to discredit us to our own base, right? That is the plan. They don't give a shit about this stuff. And so Fran is, because that has happened, because people have successfully done that, they have smeared us. So our reputations are not completely stainless, unfortunately. Anytime someone works with us, they have to face, they've been accused of anti-Semitism. Do you believe in anti-Semitism?
So I think it's important to recognize that when we are campaigning in areas where folks may not have...
Are you going to talk about this? Dude, what's happening? You spammed the chat with bullshit. Yeah, I saw, man. I don't care. Yeah, she literally said she was wrong and apologized for it. The fuck do you want? What do you want? What do you want? Or who are you in the tank for? Because let me tell you something, okay? Francesca Hong is far above everybody else in this fucking race
country.
In terms of her advocacy
the entire country.
for
No, she's actually the best candidate for office in the entire country, running for governor. She's one of one. I want you guys, like, that's actually the reality. She's one of one. She's the best of the best. There's no one else that can compare. If she wins, she will be the first socialist governor in American history. And so what the fuck are you doing? What are you doing? Who are you? What do you do? Now, she makes mistakes. She's a human being. She has made mistakes. But they don't even care if you acknowledge it. They don't even care if you apologize. They don't even care if you're grown. What are you doing? Who are you for? Why do you exist? It doesn't even, like, you know what I mean? Like, what are you trying to do? And yeah, these are the tyranny of the annoying type people, right? They're going to tell you, don't do anything unless you find a person who's perfect. They don't exist. The perfect person does not exist. There, did I help you figure it out? They never will. And one of the things that's really frustrating to me is it's so easy to hold yourself following since 37 minutes ago, account created June 29th. She-Boy, Wisconsin 666. Are you going to talk about this? Fran Hong cops on pro-Palestine. I mean, this is literally obviously a bot. This is very obviously a bot. This is very obviously somebody who is in the tank for some sort of Zionist. It's not that confusing.
Palestinians. So who are you in favor of? Who is your replacement? Who the fuck do you think is better on this issue? Yes, Francesca Hong apologized when she saw an effigy that she thought was anti-Semitic. Her constituents were calling her on it. She called 911 to be like, hey, can you guys take this down? Like, this looks like a hate crime. Okay? This was in 2023. Do you feel like this is a valid critique? Like, she apologized for it. She literally said she regrets the decision, that she was wrong about it, that she's sorry for it. Do you feel like this is a relevant point? She's over here literally fucking defending going on my stream, going on Michael from Pennsylvania's stream, saying like we got to go on these different places. So what is it?
And like, here's the thing. I want you to know something, chat. When they come on my stream, as particularly when a candidate comes on my stream, I am not considered to be right wing. Okay? I am considered to be on the fringe of the anti-Israel movement in this country. You understand that? When somebody comes on my stream, they are making as strong of an anti-Israel position as possible. They're saying they're so committed to being anti-Israel and they're so committed to DSA, they're coming on my stream. Do you understand that? That they are actually like making a formal statement of alliance? If you think that I am some sort of person that a regular politician would go on, they might go on Hassan's stream. Debatable, because he's so popular. But mine, never. Only people that are super aligned with us would come on my stream. And go and look at the people who have come on my stream. Every single one of them are radical left-wingers. The most radical left-wingers in office in this country. Brian Clancy from Wisconsin. He literally went to Iraq to try to stop the invasion, to serve as a human shield on civilian infrastructure. That's the type of people who come on my stream. Okay? Like, you are fucking delusional. And the thing is, like, I think there's this, I don't, listen, I understand that our community is small but powerful. I'm not delusional about how popular I am. I am a micro influencer in the politics space. You only know about me if you are either a democratic socialist or you hate democratic socialists so much that you're trying to destroy it. Those are the people that know who I am, okay? I am not a mainstream figure. Hassan is a mainstream figure. But because we are so organized here, because we know what the fuck to do, my community, the 100,000 followers I have, we punch above the weight of communities with 5 million followers because we're so effective. Okay, like that's the difference. So people, when they come on this stream, when they come on my stream in particular, they are making an ideological statement that puts them on the left of any politician in American history. I think a lot of people think, well, if I agree with it, it's mainstream. No, it's not. You don't have a context. You don't have a context. You don't know your history. If Francesco Hong won, she would be one of one. The most left-wing governor we've ever had, ever, in American history, in 250 years.
Why? Why are you bringing this up? Yeah, people tricked her by cropping photos, and she introduced the bill at the suggestion of the artist. 33% of your chat left your community for less. Yes, I know. She lied about it. She's flip-flopping. Yes, this is very concerning about her judgment. Who are you invested in this race? Tell me right now. I will endorse them instead. Who's your guy or gal? Come on, go ahead. We're waiting. We're waiting. We're waiting. We're waiting. I want to hear. Who's your person?
This is like really necessary to find out because again, like the reason why obviously you guys understand something about me. If you watch me regularly, you understand that I don't like non-DSA candidates. I've made a few exceptions this cycle. Kat Abu-Ghazaleh, Abdul El Sayed. I mean, I didn't even like Brad Lander. I was trashing Brad Lander, right? Why? Because he's a liberal Zionist who was a DSA leaver because of October 7th. And I don't trust the guy, right?
She called it a genocide a week after October 7th. She was a leader in the uncommitted movement in Wisconsin. She has done the fucking laps. She has the legitimacy. This is not only a fuck up, certainly, okay, but it's an explainable one. Tell me who your guy is. Following since 38 minutes ago, 40 minutes ago. I think we can have a conversation about how concerning this is. Why is that crazy? Explain to me why you think it's appropriate to tarnish the actual moral conviction demonstrated by a person who was who has gone above and beyond on this issue.
By the way, as an elected official, we had motherfuckers who have Twitch streams that wouldn't say anything about Gaza. You know, half the people you watch on this platform don't say a fucking word about the genocide. And this is an elected official.
Explain to me why you think someone who's an advocate for not only BDS, but also an embargo on Israel, running for Wisconsin governor, is being called into question. Okay? Is being called into question. Who is your person in this race? Who's your person in this race? Who's your preferred candidate? I'm asking you a super simple question.
Francesca
Who
Hall.
is your preferred candidate?
Fran,
Not
yeah,
Fran.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
So who is it?
Yeah. By the way, and this is kind of why the tyranny of the annoying exists. You know, I personally have a disagreement with Hassan. I don't think we should promote any of the anti-solidaristic lefties. If they went out of their way to trash me, by the way, notice how most of these people keep quiet about Hassan, even though he was like just as pro-Plattner as Majority Reporter Kyle Kalinske or myself, right? Notice how they keep quiet on Hassan, but then they go after the other people. Because why? You know what I mean? And the thing is, like, I have always been, and the thing about all of these races and things in particular is it's like, what I want is anti-Zionist politics who succeed. Right? That's what I want. Obviously, Graham Plattner was not the candidate for that to happen. Obviously, that was not a good candidate to select. He would, you know, anytime you're trying to build a counter hegemonic group, there's going to be growing pains. The fact that people expect instant perfection from like new organizations and new consultants that are completely shut out of the Democratic Party and who are not connected to grassroots movements, and they're just trying to get stuff off the ground, and they expect complete perfection from these people. It's nonsense. It's crazy. And yeah, when we make mistakes, how you measure someone is how do they react to a mistake? How do they react to a mistake? I believe that all of us has showed our character of being like, yeah, no, this is fucking gross. Get rid of this guy. This is beyond the pale. And you know what? In hindsight, there were red flags. We should have listened. A lot of people wanted to say Graham Plattner was reformed, including me. But honestly, when was he reformed? Like, it was pretty recent. You know, I don't think that we should have people running for Senate who got reformed like 3 or 4 years ago. Like, I think that's a little too recent. Okay. Like, if you got reformed a decade ago, okay, fine. But like 2 or 3 years, that's probably not long enough of a track record to be a senator. Okay, you have to be reformed longer than the term of the office you're running for. Okay, like new rule. I don't think anybody was calling Hassan. If people were calling me and Hassan racist, that's just nonsense. That's crazy. And you guys remember, and like, I think all of this is weird because look at the people that Hassan and I have promoted this year in the last 12 months. Gaurav Mamdani, Muslim man, Claire Valdez, Latina socialist woman, Daria Lisa, Afro-Latina, Melak Kiros, who I believe is a refugee, African refugee socialist, Abdul El Sayed, Muslim man, Arab, like, what are we talking about here? She's Ethiopian? Okay, thank you. Like, Summer Lee, black woman, Chris Rabb, black man. All of our major investments have gone into people of color to lead the socialist movement, to create a working class coalition. Intentionally, purposely. Cori Bush, black woman. We have AOC, Latina woman. We have done nothing but promote, for the most part, people of color, socialists, to lead our movement. Jamal Bowman. The only white guy is Oliver Larkin. Hartzell Gray, another black man. Hamaway, Arab man. Like, our movement has overwhelmingly been, Oliver Larkin is our token white. Exactly. Francesca Hong. Like, I'm talking about the people that I've been promoting. You know, there's other people that I like that I haven't promoted yet. Oliver's and Whitey's Floridian. So true. Yep. So don't justify yourself. You're all Gucci. No. What I'm trying to say is, like, when the rubber meets the road, we are selecting leaders that all of us could be proud of. So when you try to destroy this organization that we're building, when you try to call it like it isn't, like something that it isn't, all you're doing, there isn't like a replacement. Like, if Hassan and I become a persona non grata, it doesn't go somewhere else. It just goes away. It is just destroyed. Like, that's how it actually works. Sort of like, and this is dark to say, but when Charlie Kirk was killed, did Turning Point USA just continue on? Is it the same prominence? You lost. They lost their charismatic leader, and the organization is fucking on its last legs. And it was blooming. It was booming. The flame got dropped. And so when Badin Padada is wishing on the timeline for Hassan to be killed, that is to destroy the American left. I have no two bones about it, because he believes, for some reason, he thinks that if the American left is destroyed, that's going to cause America to fall. Actually, all that will happen is every American who is against the genocide will be suppressed, and the genocide will be completed. That's what will happen. Genocides sometimes happen and get completed, and settlers sometimes erase all the culture and all the society that was there. Just because you're righteous doesn't mean you automatically win. This is something that I need all of you to understand. It's not a movie. We're not in a movie. Good guys don't win just because they're the good guys. Being the, quote, good guy can be an advantage sometimes, but you need to get your shit together.
Ultra or APAC intern, call it. No, this is nothing. Who's your preferred candidate? Carlos Dixon. Carlos Dixon is your preferred candidate. Independent writing campaign, Carlos Dixon. I think you're talking to him right now. No, I'm not. I think this person looked up whoever they could potentially, because they said not Fran at first, after I kept asking over and over again. Okay. Write-in candidate for Wisconsin governor.
A guy who's literally schizophrenic and is doing a write-in campaign.
Post videos of himself removing yards from signs. Write-in candidate for Wisconsin governor posted a video on social media of himself. Carlos Lamar Dixon, an independent candidate for governor, posted the video to Facebook on May 27, pulling yard.
By the way, this is a criminal offense. Your idea is, hey, we're gonna show the guy committing crimes. I'm supporting the guy whose claim to fame is committing crimes and attacking the most pro-Palestinian politicians in the fucking country, and Francesca Hong and Ryan Clancy, who is literally perfect. That's the thing that really gets my goat, is people are like, oh, yeah, you know, so-and-so is an anti-imperialist. You're not an anti-imperialist. And I'm like, okay, what have you done for Ryan Clancy? Like, what have you done for Ryan Clancy? We'll find it. There it is. This is my friend, Ryan. After the war, dissent. U.S. may find some who shielded Iraq sites. Ryan Clancy arrived in Iraq in February in a double-decker bus filled with opponents of the war. August 14, 2003. After a rocky journey in it all the way from Milan, he had used frequent flyer miles to get to Italy from Wisconsin. There aren't a lot of Milwaukee-Baghdad flights, he explained. Mr. Clancy is 26 and owns a record store. He went to Iraq, he said, to observe, to learn, and to protect civilian infrastructure. He spent weeks as a human shield on a grain silo that he feared would be the target of American bombing. The government is not happy with Mr. Clancy and several others like him. Not long after they returned home this spring, they received letters from the Treasury Department seeking information about their activities in Iraq and noting that spending money there was a crime that could lead up to 12 years in prison and civil penalties of $275,000. So this guy literally went to Iraq to try to block our own troops. Is that anti-imperialist enough for you, Bad Empanada? But the fact that Ryan Clancy is a leader of the Wisconsin Democratic Socialists doesn't matter to these people. Again, because they're fucking fake. They make YouTube videos. I think it should matter to you.
Signs out of lawns in Milwaukee's Riverwest neighborhood. Dixon targeted campaign signs for state rep Francesca Hong's gubernatorial campaign and state rep Ryan Clancy's re-election campaign. Both of those candidates are supported by the Democratic Socialists of America, or DSA. Dixon told the Milwaukee Courier that the yard signs are being held hostage and for ransom in opposition to the DSA's campaigns. Dixon ties the DSA organization to Zionists and the Israeli government. I'm an anti-Zionist. I'm an anti-imperialist. I am anti-colonialism. That's what motivated me to do it.
He's targeting Ryan Clancy. He's harassing Ryan Clancy. He thinks he's more. This is what BE does to your brain, right? This is what these kind of communities do to your brain. Ryan Clancy, targeted by the government for his anti-imperialist work. Hassan Piker, banned from the United Kingdom, targeted by the government for his anti-imperialist work in Cuba. What the fuck are you guys doing? What do you guys do? What do you do? What the fuck do you do? Like, we need to, and this is why, quite frankly, do you think I'm going to ease up on these guys? Do you think I'm going to be like, oh yeah, you know what? We got to make sure the unhinged ops continue to exist?
Dixon said, I don't want to make a version of capitalism that works for America. We need a revolution right now. Dixon said it's a contradiction that the Hong campaign is running on an affordability agenda while asking for donations. Hong claims, dude, I'm sorry.
This guy is a fucking moron.
Every damn day that I have to fucking deal with another like spiritual Spartacist is another damn day where
You're not even smart enough
I
to know
get
what that
closer
is.
and closer to certain excesses and certain political concepts that I never thought I would be understanding of. Never thought I would.
All you could do is say you kind of understand. You understand history a little bit better. You understand history a little bit better. Left-wing movements that don't clamp down on this end up like the Spanish left did in the Spanish Civil War. They didn't clamp down on these type of people hard enough early enough. And so they were defeated by fascism. Unironically, this is the case. But in China and Russia, they did. And so they won. So you can see, like, it is what it is.
Would be sympathetic to. Okay? Oh my fucking God. No, this is not an ultra. It's worse. It's a trot.
Yeah, they're... Like, honestly, like, try to explain Trotsky, like, the way, like, if you want to understand Trotskyism, the best way to understand it is antisocial behavior. That's all you need to know. Like we could get into like what Trotsky was trying to argue and all these things, but honestly, at the end of the day, it's antisocial behavior. Trotsky in the Soviet Union was against the idea of workers having any control. He wanted to militarize society so he could make orders from the top down. His enemies in the Soviet Union were the representatives of the workers. They are actually antisocial freaks. It is bad. It is bad.
I always wondered when I first ventured into left book territory many years ago, all the way pre 2016. I always wondered why one of the #1 rules in every left book group was no trots. At first I was like, what is the reason for this? What's up with the fucking trots? Why is every ideological tendency on the left saying no fucking trots? Why is that the reason? You learned the fucking reason fairly early on.
One of the things that Trotskyites will do, or Trotskyists will do, is when the UAW is trying to organize a new labor union, Trotskyists will go and try to work with the bosses to disrupt it. I'm literally serious. Like, I think you guys don't understand how antisocial these people are. All factions of the left hate Trotskyists. It's actually insane how evil they are. Why? Because they think that organizing labor unions will cause the working class to stall at trade union consciousness, which will mean class collaborationism will prevail and therefore forestall revolution. So in order for revolution to happen, the working classes cannot be diverted into trade union consciousness. So it's better for the trade unions to fail and the workers to live in worse conditions because it will foment more contradiction. Sort of like a pseudo accelerationist strategy. Good news for them. We've killed unions and it didn't accelerate anything. Oh yeah. I mean, like years ago on the stream, somebody was trying to, there's this like very famous Trotskyist website called like World Socialist. It's like, what is it? WSW? Like a lot of people get confused that they think this is like, yeah, the world. So like they think this is like, oh, this is like a socialist website. So people will occasionally link me this type of shit. And, you know, sometimes they make based posts because fundamentally they are on the left. So sometimes, you know, they'll make a based post by accident. So right now they're trying to go against Sean Fain. I don't know if you guys know this, but they're launching a campaign against Sean Fain. So they're trying to disrupt. They're trying to create this they're basically trying to defeat the Democratic Socialist left within UAW. Right. That's happening right now. Oh, what else are they doing? Al Saeed Stevens debate in Michigan. Neither progressive nor establishment Democrats offer anything for the working class. As you can see, they're fucking useless.
Thank you.
Does anyone have the link to I wanted to see this because it was like literally I thought he was gonna watch the thing. I guess it's on MS Now. But like Democratic Socialist Francesca Hogg tests how far left voters will go in battleground Wisconsin. This is how everybody is looking at this. Right? This is how everybody is looking at this. Can we elect an autistic Democratic Socialist Mike from PA fan to be governor of Wisconsin? Like, think about the power of that. Of course we can.
Some of the debates and controversies that have also been a part of this race. Because while we talked about socialism and sort of the labels coming from the right, the reality is that there are criticisms that have come on the left as well. You appeared on 2 controversial live streams, one with Hassan Piker, another with a guy called Mike from Pennsylvania, former Democratic Wisconsin Elections Commissioner Ann Jacobs said of your appearances, when you decide...
They gave me the honorific. Mike from Pennsylvania. Michael from the state of Pennsylvania. You made it, buddy. Amazing. They gave me my full name, my full legal name.
These are the sort of people you want to hang out with in order to raise money. You have made clear that you either 1, agree with them, or 2, can be bought, or 3, both. Fran Hong appears to be all. She is willing to sell out the Jews of Wisconsin for a few bucks.
The thing that's really gross about this shit is if I was on the right, these networks would come and talk to me and they would be like, tell us about your opinions on Jewish people. But they know that if they do, I'll say, I abhor anti-Semitism and it's wrong. We are fighting against Israel in lockstep with our Jewish brethren in this movement. Like, they know that if they come and ask me those questions, I'll say that, which means their smears of me and Hassan as anti-Semitic will fall flat. So what they do is they take shit out of context and they report on other people's reporting, and they never come to clarify anything. Until we start suing people, they're not going to stop. And they understand that if they brought me on their shows and I put on a suit, trimmed my mustache, you know, fixed my hair, and had a conversation, they would fucking lose. So they don't do that. They're scared shitless. Notice how many profiles fucking Nick Fuentes gets. How many profile, like, I was bigger than, I'm bigger now than Nick Fuentes was when he was getting profiles in the New York Times. Now Nick is bigger than me now because, you know, he's been given so much tug baths by the mainstream media and the Republican right wing. But like, it's fucking gross, man. Thank you, chatters, for linking me the full thing. Let's watch the Hassan VOD just so we could fishhook more.
And I want to give you the opportunity to respond to that.
I condemn.
Also, if I had any advice for Francesca, I'm not asking you to defend me and Hassan, but I would just say we abhor anti-Semitism. We don't agree with it. Okay? And neither one of us promote anti-Semitism. That's a lie. So you could say that. You could just say, people on the left have been falsely accused of anti-Semitism. Both of them have publicly and continuously condemned anti-Semitism, and so do I. However, I don't agree with everything they say, right? Like, that doesn't mean that we should condemn people that we have disagreements on. I just don't think you should allow them to say that, like, by allowing them to say we're anti-Semitic, and agree, again, you don't have to defend everything I say. It's just by saying that we are fonts of anti-Semitism or we allow anti-Semitism, you are actually giving them too much. You look like you got caught. If you just say, no, that's not true. They're not anti-Semitic. They don't believe in that. And you should bring them on their show to ask what they think about anti-Semitism if you're going to call them that. But I will tell you what I believe. How would they say it's snappy without getting bogged down? It's 100% a trap and your audience is not there. Well, what I'm trying to say is, like, by trying to rush over it, it looks like there's something to it. But we're not anti-Semitic. And MSNBC, you fucking cowards, bring me on. I'll explain my views. They're trying to blacklist your allies. Exactly. They're trying to make me and Hassan persona non grata. So to like block and slow down our organizing potential. They want to make whenever a politician accepts our help, because it's so powerful, because raising hundreds of thousands of dollars and getting hundreds of volunteers to your campaign is so helpful, they're trying to attach shit to it.
Hatred, discrimination, anti-Semitism, and Islamophobia, any sort of dehumanizing of communities. Being on these streams, it's important that we get our message out in places where...
By the way, notice they never play any clips of this when they're on our streams. Notice how they're never play any clips. Like, she was on my stream. Did I say anything bigoted? Did she agree to anything bigoted? Did we go after Jewish people? BE and third world LARPers want any U.S. citizens to be punished for the crimes of their government. Not incoherent, to be honest. No, it is entirely incoherent. Do you see Bada Panada calling for all the YouTubers who like him to be punished? Do you think he's calling for Noah Samson to be punished? Is he calling for Noah Samson to deplatform? Why? He's an American. But it's profitable for him. Right? And I like Noah. I think Noah makes good content. I don't have any problem with Noah. And when he criticizes me on my positions, I think that's done from the perspective of comradeship. But do you notice that BE is selective? He likes to maintain bridges with friends, right? He's not actually anti-American. All Americans should be punished. He's just in the Mike from PA and Hassan have hate communities around them, so it's more profitable to get into the anti-Mike and anti-Hassan algorithm. He's not principled. He's not a principled kill all Amerifats. He's not a principled kill all Europeans. He doesn't give a shit about that. It's a grift.
Campaign struggled to reach voters. Just because I am on a platform certainly does not mean that I endorse everything that has been said.
MSNBC, by the way. MS Now.
Anytime, Card. Thank you, the raid, brother.
And Michael from Pennsylvania, controversial. This is the most like liberal mainstream media network. All I'm going to say is this. I've never appeared on MS Now. I've never appeared on MS Now. Think.
Isn't that insane? Isn't that fucking insane? Like, think about how many times Charlie Kirk went on Fox News. Think about how many times Charlie Kirk went on Fox News. He was on Fox News like every other fucking day. MSNBC hates us. You should start. Bro, we're lucky if we get like Sam Cedar or Emma Vigeland on. They're not bringing me on. You want to do something, chat? Get me on Zateo. Go yell at Mehdi Hassan to bring me on Zateo. There's a project for you. Get me on Zateo first. How about that? I need to also ask him. I mean, we are mutuals. But like, you want me on MSNBC? Oh, get me on some of these other things, and I'll go on there. I'll even dress up, and I'll condition my hair and everything. I'll be all on my best behavior. I won't even say arrest every Zionist. Now, I don't. By the way,
Jonathan Greenblatt.
By the way, I don't actually think we should arrest every Zionist. I think a lot of Zionists are just misled and they don't know the facts. But as far as, you know, the political Zionists who are promoting genocide propaganda, those people are committing crimes against humanity. And we need to attack structures that do crimes against humanity. Like, think how crazy it is that even on the so-called far left, nobody's really talking about criminalizing these organizations. Like, AIPAC is basically the same thing as the German-American Bund. They're like, during the Holocaust, having a foreign government try to influence your politics. That's why FARA was passed, which is the Foreign Agent Registration Act. It was passed by FDR to counter German Nazi infiltration in America. That act, it was specifically and they said it was, oh, we are German Americans. We are German Americans who want good relations with Germany. I mean, it's very similar to how AIPAC operates. AIPAC is way more successful than the Bund. Yeah, of course they are. That's because FDR countered it. FDR did not let the German American Bund elect all the fucking politicians in the Democratic Party.
That, on the other hand, appears on MS Now all the time. Yeah. My dog Kyra says hello. She also says she's happy for not having an electric collar. Hell yeah. My dog Kyra is also happy for not having an electric collar.
By either the hosts or other people who have gone on. And if candidates and elected officials who are speaking with more controversial hosts, if we are to be responsible for everything that they have ever said, I would point to the fact that Tom Tiffany.
I like how everyone just concedes to the idea that you're anti-Semitic and a terrorist. They just say they don't agree with your beliefs. It's fucking bullshit, to be honest. I don't care. I don't care.
I mean, I don't care either, but I think it's bad tactically to like grant the idea that we have any kind of beliefs that are negative. Like, yeah, we've said dumb shit that even I don't agree with it, right? Like the one clip they have of me, I made a long video a year ago talking about how I regret what I said, why it was problematic, and apologizing and making clear that I'm not anti-Semitic. A year ago. It's not like they have one clip, but that's the thing. They don't give a shit. They don't give a shit about my actual position. They just try to spread lies to pollute the idea that you can even listen to me in the first place. It's not about what I actually believe and representing it, and even giving me the opportunity to present my own argument.
Because I don't want Abdul or Francesca to get bogged down defending the most negatively framed choice quotes that they're going to slam if they come across like they're endorsing everything that I've ever said. Okay? You have to be pragmatic. Obviously, if these people thought that I was a fucking vicious anti-Semite, they wouldn't come on my broadcast. Okay? If they thought that myself or Michael from Pennsylvania were like rabid anti-Semites, then they wouldn't do this. They wouldn't come on my podcast, my broadcast, or his, right? It's just a very effective way to deflate this bad faith smear, this bad faith attack.
And like ultimately, you know, Francesca, she's winning. Do you guys understand that? Like the reason why they're winding up these attacks is because we're winning. It's working. We are winning. Do you understand? Like, and what are the Democrats going to do? Are they going to abandon the Wisconsin governor? I mean, they very well might. Like, here's the thing that you need to understand. Like, they might try to lose this race. Now, I don't think it'll work. Like, I think the thermostatic effects are so strong that as long as we put together a campaign, even if the Republicans are overspending like crazy, try to win this, we're going to win. We're going to fucking win.
Especially because it has nothing to do with policy. And these are policy-centered campaigns. Okay. These are policy centered campaigns. The best thing you can do in the circumstances is to be like, look, I'm talking to a bunch of people that we have left behind. I'm not going to endorse every single thing that any content creator has said. But having said that, of course, I'm going to go there to talk to people. Of course, I'm going to go to talk to people. I don't agree with everything you've said, but I'm here talking to your audience, right? And as governor of a swing state, what I'm doing every day is talking to Trump voters, right? Hey, young man, do you have some kind of resource illustrating how you're not anti-Semitic against these ADL third way websites, like a formal resource or something? I mean, not really. It's just my long, many years of advocacy. These elections aren't ego tests for you. If they need to shit on you to win, you don't give a shit. The reality is that those who you talk to, like Fran, Zoran, Abdul, understand that they don't have to shit on you to still be on the right side of issues. Exactly.
Well, listen, like the main thing,
if they were to turn around,
okay,
if they were to turn around and be like,
here's
yeah,
the thing. Like the more popular that Hassan gets, and the more popular that I get, and the more popular like people that are generally on our side get, the more damage is done to the corporate media. The more people rely on me or rely on Hassan for their news, the more influence our politics and our policies and our analysis has, the more that the centrist Democrats are untenable as a political grouping. They understand that. And so they recognize that we are more of an existential threat. I'm more of an existential threat to centrism than the Republicans are. In fact, to them, the Republicans actually help them because of thermostatic effects. When the Republicans win power, people just want them out, so they grasp at any straw. And they know that. They know. They're not confused that the Democratic Party base is to the left of the Democratic Party. They actually think it's hilarious. They enjoy the fact that they get to ignore 90% of the Democratic base, because what are you going to do? Vote Republican? But when people like Hassan or people like DSA or people like myself and others exist, then there's actually a threat to their position. The Republicans don't represent a threat to their position in any way. We do. That's why we are a bigger enemy for them than the Republicans are. They love Republicans. They kiss Republicans. In fact, they wish that they could have the exact same platform as the Republicans, except one wedge issue, which makes people want to vote for them 50.00001%. That's their ideal world. Their ideal world is they hold the bare minimum of power so they could suck up as much corporate donations as possible, and that they're as right-wing as they could possibly be, finding one wedge issue that will make people vote for them over the Republicans. That's the ideal centrist Democrat politics.
Hassan, I'm really sorry for going on his stream. Okay? I'm really sorry for going on his stream. He's really bad.
Joining anti-Semites. Oh my God, I didn't even notice this. I didn't know the RNC called me an anti-Semite. Amazing. Jesus Christ.
He's really fucked up or whatever. That actually would not just like ruin their credibility, but that actually would be a massive mistake. Not because I'm like a super popular person, right? I'm not saying that at all. But it would be a mistake because then they would be admitting guilt when
you admitted you went on an anti-Semite. Yeah, they would just, it wouldn't be like, oh, you're right. That was so sad. That was so wise of you to condemn Mike and Hassan. It would be like, admittedly campaigned. Your judgment is poor. You know what I mean? Like, they would just ratchet it up more. You should scoff at this shit.
No such guilt needs to be admitted. Then they would say, oh, well, why did you go on a stream then? Are you stupid? Why did you do that? Like, so that would be a sign of weakness, and that would be weaponized against them. Okay? That would be weaponized against them endlessly. As a matter of fact, them refusing to back down on these appearances and also deflecting on these appearances, like being raised as an issue, is the smart thing to do, because they get to solidify not only their support for certain causes, right? But then also on top of that, they get to show that they're real fighters, that they're not going to back away from certain issues, like their moral convictions, right? On certain issues, especially on Israel, which is huge. And not only that, but they also get to reframe the conversation about how open-minded they are about. They get to reframe the conversation around like being able to talk to people where they are. Okay.
the Republican likely nominee, has been on a radio show that has called for the execution of the governor of Minnesota. So I think it's important to recognize that when we are campaigning in areas where folks may not have.
Are you going to talk about this? Dude, what's happening? You spammed the chat with bullshit. Yeah, I saw, man. I don't care. Yeah, she literally said she was wrong and apologized for it. The fuck do you want? What do you want? What do you want? Or who are you in the tank for?
Okay, we already watched this part.
Instances where MLs will get mad at me.
No, yeah, we went back to the very beginning, and now we skipped the part we already watched. Don't worry.
Destructive behavior of the revolutionary tendency, a bastardization of Lenin's writings. Well, I guess trots do that too, because they also will talk about Lenin on great terms. Thank you.
Lesson from the Corbett years: never accept bad faith framing. The media will never let it go. Oh yeah, exactly. Like, there is no way that you could ever give them even a breath of the idea. Don't pretend, don't apologize, don't pretend, scoff at their ridiculousness.
For this chatter, this guy isn't a trot. He's just very mentally ill. Well,
a Milwaukee man running for governor of Wisconsin is stealing political campaign signs around town and posting videos about it on social media.
Why isn't this guy, like, honest to God, and I don't mean this to be, I'm not saying I'm in favor of the carceral state or anything like that, but I mean, if there are news reports of you committing crimes and you admitting it on the news, it seems like, you should probably, like, You're stealing other people's property openly and brazenly on the news? Like, I don't know, man. It's almost like the police are condoning it.
Media. Even though it's illegal, he says he won't stop doing it. Check this out.
So you're running for governor, but it appears you're breaking laws every day. Why should Wisconsinites trust you?
I mean, am I breaking any laws?
I'll have that.
Carlos Lamar
all day long.
Has spent this past week recording himself.
Enjoy your Ring doorbell cam.
Stealing campaign signs of Democratic gubernatorial candidate Francesca Hong.
Not this bull right here, though.
And 9th Representative Ryan Clancy. Dixon, who says he's an independent write-in candidate for governor, filmed this video Thursday in Milwaukee's River West neighborhood.
65 likes, by the way. These are the people you claim to support. 65 likes. 65 motherfucking likes.
And posted it to Facebook. When was the first time you've done this? Is this new?
It is new. I think it was yesterday.
Dixon says he's not stealing the signs. Instead,
taking signs for ransom as hostage. I am anti-MAGA. I am anti-capitalism. I am anti-establishment. I am anti-Zionism. So,
guys, the establishment, the couple people that are like, for example, Ryan. Chat, I think we should have Ryan on soon, right? I need to schedule some interviews for this month. So we need to have Ryan on. Hopefully we could raise him a couple bucks. And then let's try to get like one or two more congressional candidates on before August. I think that's something we could do, right? When are you having Daria Lisa on stream? I tried to get the campaign to reach out to the primary. They did. Like, there was a few people that unfortunately it was too late into the cycle when it was like GOTV. It's like the main reason to come on my stream is to raise a little bit of money and get a few more, you know what I mean? Like, so it was like really late. Like I almost had, Mylot and we had a misconnection. We were like pretty close to having that lined up. Same thing with Abdul, but I don't think Abdul should come on my stream. I don't think he should come on my, I would say no. I would say no for Abdul. I don't think it's a good idea for him to come on my stream. Same thing with Chris. So we're gonna figure it out. We're gonna figure it out. Don't worry. Low key, you should see about Brittany. I mean, obviously, but that's in the fall. Brittany doesn't need my help right now. She's running in the, to be an independent. Like this is, I'm focusing on people that are running in primaries. Heath is one that I think they're in September though. I think Heath's primary is in September, so we could probably do that next month in August. Maybe she will come on your stream because you always participate. I know I'm terrible with names. Would I have Professor Jang on? Only in person. Hartzell. I've had Hartzell on twice.
Whoever falls under those categories can feel the wrath of my political dissent.
On Thursday, Dixon insisted 12 News
Narcissism is like Like right now, I'm kind of in my anti-narcissism arc where like I've just had too many narcissists in my friend groups lately where I'm just like I can't with the narcissism, man. I actually am starting to come to like, now that I've been around people that are legitimately like narcissistic personality disorder people, as opposed to like people being a little bit self-centered, actually understanding, I think narcissism might be like one of the most severe mental illnesses. Like I thought it was like one of the things where it was like, you know, it's a little annoying, it's a bad personality trait. But no, they live in full-on delusion. It's actually way more dangerous than I thought. Aren't streamers inherently narcissistic? There's a difference between narcissistic traits and narcissistic like personality disorder delusions. They are, it is. So I'm suffering through having a, you know, relationship with a narcissist. Like not, it's obviously not VO or anything, but I just mean friendship. It is so bad. And I'm like, you know, I'm just trying to, I'm learning on like what strategies we can approach. If someone suspects they have narcissism, how should they go about trying to manage, cure it? First of all, if you're engaging in self-reflection and you're feeling remorse, you probably don't even have it. Like literally, like narcissists literally to them, like having accountability or rumination or self-reflection is like impossible. They can't do it.
Interesting that he's only going after.
If you have somebody with MPD, I mean, listen, like I'm not trying to say that MPD people aren't human or anything. It's just like it needs active management through intensive talk therapy, cognitive behavioral therapy. Like it needs to be managed like really, really, really well, because it's actually crazy. It's hard to understand. It really is hard to understand, because you know, as like kind of a person on the spectrum, I have a very solutions oriented and like method of trying to take this stuff on, and it is like, oh boy, no, you can't do that.
Democratic Socialist candidates, though. Interesting.
In front of a Milwaukee police station.
If I do get arrested, I'll get out and I'll try to find some more signs.
So you're not concerned about being?
Not concerned at all.
We asked Milwaukee police if they're aware of the Facebook videos. The department said they did not have any calls for service regarding them. Dixon also posted on Facebook Thursday, writing, quote, "Politicians should be grateful that all I want is yard signs and not their heads."
Was that a threat?
Was it a threat? I'm asking you a question. Was it a threat?
I'm asking you, was it a threat?
I'm asking you, was it a threat?
Dixon says his sign stealing will cross political lines and target a GOP gubernatorial candidate too.
I see some Tom Tiffany signs out there. I'm going to go snatch those up if I get the...
He doesn't know how many signs he's taken, but claims they're all at his home.
This is the candidate of this guy's choosing, who was like, Francesca Hong is bad.
Have already heard our message. It's important to let them know.
Campaign lawn signs are a vehicle of bourgeois capitalist and imperialist oppression on the proletariat of the world. If you really think about it, it's true.
True.
It's funny, the deeper you go into like leftist movements, the more experience you have in these spaces, the more you will see these people over and over again. They always prop up.
Know that we are a campaign that is fighting for working class people, and it's important that folks are staying engaged on our elections here in Wisconsin.
I want to ask you about how Israel and Gaza have also reshaped this race. It's reshaped the Democratic Party all across the country. It's not just the case in Wisconsin. You have made very clear, you've said that you believe Israel has committed genocide in Gaza. And there's also been this debate in your state over an incident from 2023 in which you called the police twice to report an anti-Israel protest display of some kind on behalf of constituents who told you at that time that they believed that it was anti-Semitic. You've since apologized for doing that. Can you explain why?
I was unaware that this was an act of protest. I did not see the words ceasefire now, and I was responding to community members and my constituents that had expressed deep concern over that display. And so I was responding to people's fear and pain, and I always will choose.
There's trots in the DSA too, by the way. I'm not talking about all of them. All right. Talking about a very specific type.
To make sure that communities feel safe. And as a democratic socialist, it means that my values are rooted in democracy, fairness, and human rights. And whether it's here or across different parts of the country or across the world, it's important that we denounce genocide and call it for what it is, and vow to protect communities and ensure that everyone feels safe in practicing their faith.
With our final seconds here, can you just tell me?
They followed 40 minutes ago, subbed the post, and then deactivated their account, by the way. I'm willing to bet that is actually him. At first, I didn't think that was the case, but low-key, that is definitely him. It's either him or a federal agent at this point. This guy's on my feed every day. I hate him. I'm from Milwaukee. He constantly hates on Hong and calls you out. By the way, that was him earlier. Respect. That was definitely him. What is this? Look at my communist dog. Oh, dude, come on. Stop. We're not doing that. No, that's bait. I don't want to touch that right now. Stop it.
Bit about how you plan to build on the legacy of Tony Evers in the state.
Because that's like twofold. Look, I just did the Socialist Worker Party Marxist conference. Okay, I don't want to get into this right now. That's a trot organization, is it not?
Someone that many Democrats still have immense affection for there, and maybe wondering sort of how your policies, your process may build on.
We will carry forward the governor's passion for public education, ensuring that we are fully funding our public schools and public universities, that our governor has been forced to govern by defense, and Democrats now have an opportunity to win back the trifecta and ensure that we are delivering for Wisconsinites on healthcare, on public schools, on environmentalism. Our Wisconsin progressive roots run deep, and this is a state where so many progressive ideals and policies have come from, and we're ready to move those forward and deliver for Wisconsin.
Francesca Hong, so good to have you on MS Now.
Thanks so much for having me, Antonia.
All I could say is, like, Francesca Hogg being on MSNBC and succeeding is a sign of our movement rising in popularity, Like, it is what it is. I agree, but he's pretty well coordinated in some ways. He came here first just before Hong came on, shows up for coverage of Hong, multiple accounts in coordination with the corporate news message. Yeah, because it's probably, again, because he seems like the type of schizo that is being promoted by the feds. Unironically, like, this strategy is to try to lower the energy towards Francesca Hong in pro-Palestine spaces, right? Like, that's the actual effort that is being accomplished here. They are trying to, like, cause people like Bad and Panada and bad faith actors like that to start trying to attack Francesca Hong as some sort of, like, not being pro-Palestine enough, right? To try to cause division and distraction. That's why Bad and Panada is a federal agent, and he doesn't even deny it. He does not deny that he's paid by the government. He doesn't deny that he's working for the government. I mean, like, so it is what it is. More consumer protection. One click to cancel and expanding on what they announced earlier in regard to junk fees. Yeah, oh, yeah, I'm sure that's bad.
Look, all you need to know about some of the trot tendencies is that
if Democrats,
they get the benefit of leaning into a profoundly important participation of the revolution who never actually seized power afterwards. So they never had to deal with all of the issues of governance. Okay. That's it. That's the nicest, most charitable interpretation of people who love Trotsky and believe that he would have done a better job than Stalin. Okay. The problem is there's one element of Trotsky, who was a fantastic writer for the record. There's one element of Trotsky that some Trots carry the flame on, which is being unparalleled in being a fucking nuisance. Okay. It's insane. Down to motherfucking Frida Kahlo. The encounters. The encounters show the history.
Have any hope of winning control of the Senate this November? Virtually every path involves holding each seat that they currently.
Okay. That was Mike from PA and Hassan Piker on MSNBC. I think we milked the ever-loving fuck out of this. Hell yeah. Oh no, I think he might be dead. Oh, Mitch McConnell is dead? Wait, again? This is from last, this is just an old video, right? From last week. Yeah, it's just videos of it happening. God, I hate TMZ. Ugh. That website is so ugly. Holy shit. Am I wrong? Is TMZ not the like ugliest fucking website of all time? It's a newly released video. Fuck. All right, why not? Mitch McConnell. Mitch is dead. Question mark? God, I can't wait to play. Oh man, what is the good videos to celebrate the untimely passing of evil people? It's like I'm pretty sure Crab Rave and Coffin Dance get like they're fucking like DMCA bots. Like they try to run around and DMCA everybody who plays them. Untimely, yes, because I don't want to get banned. I've heard from good sources that he was in a loving and heated relationship with controversial streamer Hassan Piker. Yeah, online banking.
Emergency fund.
Yeah. All right, chat. I wanted to talk to you guys about Binface. Can we talk about Binface? So, if you're in the UK, you may know that Nigel Farage, who is the leader of the far-right Reform Party, was accused of getting, I think, a £5 million illegal gift, which you and I might call a bribe. And so he resigned from his seat to trigger a special election, and then he announced that he was going to run again, presumably to get the like endorsement of the district again. So every single other major party, because this is like the most right-wing seat in the entire country, said, fuck this, we're not putting up any candidate. And so perennial satire candidate Count Binface decided to launch a campaign. And so because it's a head-to-head race, it will be Count Binface against Nigel Farage. And there's a strong possibility that joke candidate Count Binface might actually win. So who the fuck is Count Binface? Check it out.
A man with a bin on his head. And it's not the Tory candidate. Looks like something out of Star Wars.
On Tuesday, Nigel Farage made...
Okay. Anyway, I better...
to talk to him,
No,
John.
I'm going to hand you back to... I'm gonna... Oh, right. Okay.
You want to talk to me?
Yeah, go on then.
Go on then.
Right,
Back to the nation.
Who are you?
My name... What kind of journalist is this? You don't know? Have a look.
I've got my list here.
Burnham.
No, I realise that. Oh, you're Count Binface, yeah?
There you go. You did go to journalism school. Excellent. Yes, I...
A long time ago.
I beg your pardon?
I said a long time ago.
Yeah. Oh, well, I wouldn't have known.
Why are you standing in this election? Just a stunt?
It's A, because it's happening. B, I was at a loose end. C, because I believe elected mayors should serve out their terms before they're eligible to stand for Parliament.
Oh, you've made a sensible serious political point there.
Well, no, you're supposed to be impartial, mate. So let me carry on. I'm going to rephrase the traffic lights on Liverpool Road. I'll price cap Wigan kebabs at £2. I'll make cyclists who disobey the highway code have to ride unicycles instead. And I will turn HS2 into FFS1 and reroute it.
Not going to swear, are you?
No, I'm perfect. Although we are past the watershed, but don't worry.
No, we don't want you swearing, please.
I promise I won't. I'm a good boy. And no, but I'm going to reroute it through rail executives' homes. I'm going to build at least one affordable house. I mean, I could go on. What's Andy said he's going to do?
Oh, he said lots he's going to do, and he changes his mind from time to time. But anyway, are you going to save your deposit? Probably not.
No, in a word. But if I could beat the Tories or the Lib Dems, that would be quite funny.
Yeah, I suppose they wouldn't find it very funny, though, would they? How many votes do you think you're going to get?
Well, I'd be happy with one.
Do you live in the constituency?
I do tonight.
Well, it sounds as though you don't.
What, do you?
No, of course not. I don't live here, no.
So why should I?
Well, a lot of candidates like to boast that they're local. You're obviously not too concerned about that.
Well, I'm looking at the putative Prime Minister, Nigel Farage. He spends more time in America than in Clacton. So why should...
You don't think Mr. Burnham's the putative Prime Minister, then?
Well, they both putatas, that they will be the next PM. But I think at least Andy feels like he's slightly local to the area. But that's something. If I was to win...
He used to be the MP for Leeds, just not very far from here.
Exactly. If I win, I swear...
That's not going to happen.
Well, exactly. So I'm going to say, I swear I'll move to Makerfield if I win.
Okay. All right. I'm sure they'll all be delighted. Well, I'm sure there's other people who want to interview you. Thank you for talking to Sky News.
It's my pleasure. Well interviewed. Well done.
No, Count Binface. This is real. And as you can see, Count Binface is actually a really concise, entertaining, charismatic figure who's got a real shot.
The politically risky move of resigning as an MP in order to trigger a by-election in his constituency of Clacton. Nominally, this was an attempt by Farage to get ahead of the House of Commons Privileges Committee.
This guy sucks and is motivated by anti-leftist sentiment. Oh, I'm sure. Woke Niskit. I'm sure he's a disgusting liberal. He strikes me as he strikes me as a smug liberal. Like, I'm sure that's right. But humiliating Nigel Farage is a huge win.
Which were investigating his financial interests, the result of which could have led to a by-election. He explained that it was up to the people of Clacton to judge him, and that the by-election would be a fight between him and the establishment. The issue here is that the establishment has chosen simply not to engage. The Conservatives, Labour, the Liberal Democrats, the Greens and Restore Britain have all confirmed that they won't be standing a candidate in Clacton. This means that the by-election is set to be a fight between the Reform leader and, if the polls are to be believed, potential future Prime Minister and Count Binface. So, in this video, we're going to have a look into this by-election, why the other parties have stood down, what Farage's plan is, and why it seems like it may have already backfired.
Count Binface might as well be Mao in UK politics. True.
If Andy Burnham becomes the next British Prime Minister in summer, the UK will have had...
He started under Corbyn as an anti-Brexit guy just to make the left look dumb. Just wanted to make that clear. I mean, Brexit was kind of stupid. Like, I know there is a left-wing argument for Brexit, but Brexit is kind of fucking stupid. You know, like, it was a dumb idea. Like, Britain is a relatively minor world power, and losing access to the common market, that was pretty stupid.
7 prime ministers in less than 10 years. So, in the latest issue of our magazine, we explain why there appears to be a revolving door at number 10 Downing Street. That's just one of 80 pages in the magazine, because there's more in Too Long than you'd expect. Purchase your copy by clicking the link in the description. Now, it's worth starting this video by explaining in a little more detail why Farage opted to trigger the by-election. In the last few weeks, Farage has been under some serious pressure. His party has struggled in a number of by-elections, which has damaged their momentum and raised serious questions about their ability to actually meet expectations in the polls. Separately, the media have highlighted a number of occasions in which Farage hadn't declared his financial interests in the 12 months before he became an MP in 2024, as is required. Farage largely claimed that he didn't need to declare these interests, as they were personal gifts or benefits, which, as per parliamentary rules, don't need to be declared. Nonetheless, the Parliamentary Standards Commissioner opened an investigation, and it looked likely that Farage may have been found to have broken the rules. If the Standards Committee decided that an appropriate punishment would be a suspension from the House of Commons of more than 10 days, then a recall petition would have been triggered, and if this petition garnered the signatures of more than 10% of Clacton constituents, then a by-election would have been called. Instead of sitting and watching the Standards Commissioner and committee slowly work through this process, Farage seems to have opted to get out ahead of it, and opted to call a by-election himself. In a video on Tuesday, Farage stated that the people of Clacton should be the judges of my actions, and tried to frame the by-election as a fight between...
Brexit is very stupid, but his goal was to split the left vote, as opposed to the result of the referendum is literally anti-democratic. Okay, let me just say something about so-called anti-democracy. When you have an election, when you have a vote, and there is a result, and you start to pursue the policy, and then sentiment changes as people realize the consequences of the policy are different than what people suspected. I don't think it's anti-democratic for people to continually advocate against a policy, even after something like a referendum, right? Like I don't think that is. In fact, I think that's part of what makes democracy democracy. And a lot of the Brexit shit was misleading slop. They outright lied about it. So if people change their mind, they should be allowed to change the policy. That's democracy.
Him and the establishment. There are, though, 2 major issues with Farage's logic. The first issue, as we explained in a video earlier this week, is that the Privileges Committee will not drop their investigation. Now,
opposing the result was electoral oblivion. The problem is, woke this skit, and this is where I disagree with you. Brexit is why Corbyn lost, because the Labour coalition was split by Brexit. Brexit forced the Labour coalition into incoherence. It had a large group of cosmopolitan people who strictly opposed it, and it had the red wall. It had the traditional Labour voters who were in favor of it. And so Corbyn was caught out in an impossible situation. If he opposed Brexit, he would alienate those kind of like red wall constituencies that were vital toward a Labour majority. If he supported Brexit, it would collapse his support among the more cosmopolitan young population, who would then have flocks to the Lib Dems or some other anti-Brexit party. So it checkmated him. There was no good position to take. Like literally, there was no good position to take. For Labour to have a majority, it needed to have people that were both Brexit and anti-Brexit. And so, because Brexit was the quintessential issue of that 2019 election, it completely destroyed Jeremy Corbyn. He was caught out, and there was nothing he could do. There was no position that he could have held. And then, obviously, the Zionist hit job didn't help. You know, there was the Zionist hit job and the fact that Labour was trying to sabotage their own party because of anti-leftism and all that other shit. But you know, it is what it is. Conditions were bad.
That Farage has kickstarted a by-election of his own. They will continue their work if and when he's re-elected, and could well suspend him from the House. This means that a pathway to a second Clacton by-election later in the year remains open. In other words, Farage hasn't avoided a by-election nominally triggered by the Standards Committee. He's just delayed it with an additional by-election. The second issue is that, in order to claim a victory over the establishment and rebuild some momentum for reform, the establishment needs to actually participate. Over the course of Tuesday evening, though, we saw statements from each party announcing that they would not stand against Farage in the Clacton by-election, stating instead that they would stand in any future Clacton by-election triggered by the Standards investigation. Conservative leader Kemi Badenoch called Farage's move a gimmick and said her party would not stand in the, quote, fake by-election. Labour called the whole thing a circus, and its National Executive Committee agreed it would not stand. Lib Dem leader Ed Davies said his party was not standing and would refuse to give oxygen to Farage's vanity project. The Green Party also confirmed its local members had decided not to stand in the by-election. And Rupert Lowe, the former Farage ally, now leader of the rival Restore Britain, said Restore would not stand in the, quote, reform-sponsored media circus. Now, at face value, you might think these are strange decisions. After all, aren't they just guaranteeing Farage's re-election by an even bigger margin? Well, yes, they are effectively handing victory to Farage, but the logic makes sense. By refusing to stand, they deny Farage a proper contest, take any shine off the by-election and his presumptive victory, and can paint Farage's move as a selfish, farcical one that comes at the expense of the taxpayer. Without the mainstream party standing, it's harder for Farage to make his case that it's a people versus establishment by-election. And with no other mainstream candidates to scrutinise, one imagines that attention will not shift from his financial scandals. And for the non-competing parties, it saves themselves from spending time, money and resources on a by-election that they likely would have lost anyway. There is actually precedent for this. Back in 2008, Conservative MP David Davis, aiming to highlight and protest against the Labour government's 42-day terror detention plan, resigned from Parliament and stood again in the subsequent by-election. Neither the Liberal Democrats or Labour stood in that by-election, declaring the whole thing a political stunt by Davis. Of course, Davis won with 72% of the vote, but the wind had been taken out of his sails, and it's remembered as a bit of a damp squib. But back to Farage, it's not true to say that he won't face any competition. That's because one individual who's confirmed that they will stand is Count Binface, previously known as Lord Buckethead, the perennial novelty candidate played by comedian John Harvey. The Count has become a staple of British politics, usually standing in the seats of incumbent prime ministers, leading to some iconic images, as well as in notable by-elections, with a whole host of satirical policies. He has, for instance, promised to build at least one affordable home, to bring back CFAX, and to move the hand dryer in the men's toilets at Uxbridge's Crown and Treaty pub to a more sensible position. Now, we're certainly not saying that Count Binface will win. In the Makerfield by-election, he only managed to secure 95 votes, around 0.2%. However, he could plausibly be the only other recognisable candidate alongside Farage, making him the de facto anti-Farage candidate. If this is the case, then we should expect him to secure significantly more votes than in Makerfield, and possibly even come second. It's worth pointing out that independents and smaller local parties will likely also stand. This sort of result would really add to the argument put forward by Farage's political opponents, that his resignation and this by-election is a bit of a farce. This is an incredibly nuanced story though, with plenty of outlets reporting online, and even now we can see that there were 431 sources reporting on it. But how can we be sure that what we're reading isn't hugely biased? Well, that's a problem we face when making these videos too, and luckily that's where this week's sponsor, Ground News, comes in.
Okay, thank you for Ground News. It looks like Ipsos in the UK polled his manifesto, restoring the price of a 99 flake to 99p, capping the price of croissants at £1, forcing rule-breaking cyclists to ride unicycles, abolishing VAR, and bringing back CFAC. It looks like now I think a flake. What is a flake? I think it's a soft serve ice cream, right? Yeah. A 99 flake, or simply 99, is an ice cream code with a flake inserted into it, commonly sold by ice cream vans in the United Kingdom and Ireland. Yeah, bring back 99 flakes. What the fuck? It's crazy how expensive food is now. Like the inflation in food is fucking insane. All right, chat. I guess we should talk about some like actual serious politics, huh? Do we talk about some actual serious politics? The Charlie Kirk murder trial. Is anybody interested in the Charlie Kirk murder trial? Everybody's like, no. All right, god damn. Cover Caroline? Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, no, let's cover that. That's so much better. Caroline destroys Anna Kasparian. Let me just say, like, of all the content creators on this platform, one of the ones that I respect the most, and I think of like as legitimately a talented leader, is Caroline. And underappreciated, you know, like seriously. There's like a lot of streamers on here and I'm like, why does anybody watch them? Why does anybody watch them? But Caroline, it's like the opposite. I'm like, god damn, how come Caroline doesn't have 20K? So Anna Kasparian said one of the dumbest things I've ever seen about Graham Plattner.
Because it places us in this unbearable position of having to adjudicate something that should have been adjudicated in a court of law if this actually took place. If someone entered my home and forcibly raped me, I would not allow the individual who forcibly raped me, that's violent, right, to remain in my home and sleep it off. But that is what she did. She alleges that he was so drunk that she didn't want to tell him to leave because he might harm someone on the road. He just forcibly raped you, right? Call the cops, or more importantly, get the hell out of the house. But she did neither one of those things. Neither one of those things.
Yeah.
Because it places us in this.
And I think it's fucking gross. Caroline wrote, actually a perfect example of how rape culture operates, bookmarking this clip for future use in educational streams on rape culture, specifically the role that media plays. Thanks, Anna, for exemplifying such vile rape apologia and textbook victim blaming. I think one of the things that really bothers me is it is the delusion that women have it easy for calling someone out. Can you guys think of a single person whose career or life was enhanced by calling this shit out? Caroline called out Ryan Grip. He should have been called out. He should have been called out. I called him out too. Can you think of a single person whose life was like, wow, they came out with a rape allegation. Now they're really famous and their life got a lot better. Like, I switched job and now I don't get to watch as often, but I'm getting DSA in West Virginia. We got to take that shit over. Thank you for motivating me to get off my ass, brother. Thanks for watching. Northeast Arkansas DSA chapter starting next month that I wouldn't have gotten involved without this community. Love and solidarity. And like, that is... So that like theory of like, oh, this woman is lying for attention or lying for what? It's like, what the fuck are you talking about, man? What the fuck are you even trying to say? Sexism, racism, transphobia, etc. exists across the entire political spectrum. We cannot and should not ignore the different lived experiences of members of the working class. Leftists who ignore these interlocking forms of oppression because they take no war but class war to mean the exclusion of the intersectional approach to class politics are not building a united front. They're leaving people behind and exposing the holes in the so-called broad coalition building. How can you be a principled anti-imperialist if you hand wave a Blackwater mercenary stint? How can you be anti-capitalist and still perpetuate rape culture? This is actually true. And I think that obviously with Graham Plattner in particular, Hassan, a lot of people, we made a major mistake of going, well, the guy's anti-war now. But in the reality is, he was always a dangerous and unstable character. And we were wrong to do that. We were literally wrong to do that. And we look stupid because of that. Because we wanted so desperately to have an anti-Zionist choice. And the problem is that we need to develop institutions and frameworks that are developing new candidates all the time, right? Who are bringing us forward. Ryan Grimm-Mass's victim blaming and journalistic ethos, don't fall for it. Now, listen. There's another thing that I want to point out. I don't think that there is a difference in how we approach this. You know, for some people, they're looking for an example of behavior. Like Anna Kasparian is unreformable. She is fully down the like alt-right pipeline. She's not interested in taking any kind of correction. She's not interested in learning. Whereas I think Ryan is. And maybe that's me being wrong, but I believe like they deleted the posts. They apologized. They took feedback. That is my goal. If you're an ex-Plattner right now, sadder but wiser, it's still time to stop the Gaza First Socialists from giving away the Michigan Senate seat for factional reasons. The way they tried to likely succeeded in giving away the Maine seat. David Frum should be in prison. Fucking scumbag. Killed 1 million people, by the way, and promoted on MSNBC. Absolutely fucking disgusting. All right, let's take a look. How much of the war? Oh yeah, this.
A new Iranian.
Apparently, there's the mainstream media is reporting that there was a assassination plot on Donald Trump. Another assassin. They're claiming that Iran had an assassination plot against Donald Trump. Now, my personal take on this is you're not allowed to say, it's against the law to say that you want the president of the United States to be killed. That is the one statement you're not allowed to say. If you say that, they will show up at your house. They will arrest you. They will put you in prison. It's not something you can even joke about. You will be prosecuted. It is a thing you're not allowed to say. Now, I'm not saying it. I'm just informing you that that is something you're not allowed to say. Okay? It's like a public service announcement. Sorry, Chad. I'm reenacting the whitest kids you know bit. Rip Trevor. And with that being said, the United States of America has engaged in a vicious assassination campaign with sneak attacks against the leadership of Iran, the sovereign leadership and civilian leadership of Iran. The idea that there's not going to be blowback is stupid. Of course, the Iranians would feel justified and would feel they have moral license to do the exact same shit to our government and our civilian elected leaders that we have done to their government and their civilian elected leaders. So if Benjamin Netanyahu or Donald Trump are assassinated, it is almost certainly a tit for tat action. And it's hard to say from the perspective of international law that one is more illegal than the other. So I am 100%, obviously, I'm against the assassination of civilian governmental leadership. Part of the reason why is you can't end hostilities if there is no other side.
Plot to assassinate Trump. According to the Wall Street Journal, with new reporting this hour, is
and obviously, like, you know, you can't say that you want Trump assassinated, and you certainly can't say any, you know, you can't say anything like that about any leader of the government. You can't really say that about anyone on Twitch because that's a bannable offense, right? And, you know, so, you know, in my community, whenever you feel like there is a world leader that you are wishing will have serenity in their life, then you peepo smile, okay? Serenity now, okay? You cannot call for any sort of violence or hoping for violence because you'll get your account permabanned. Mamdani lost at Mario Kart?
Parents said, no, what?
Did you let me win?
No, I didn't know that it was already done.
It's okay. It's all right. You can get me the other time. So the other part of it too.
It's absurd.
It's okay.
I used to live in Astoria, and my parents said, no, what?
Did you let me win?
What happened? What happened? Your clip is terrible.
Anyway, so
I just beat Villager.
That's extremely frustrating. So being able.
No, I didn't know that it was already done.
Do you have in a system like if it's
not showing up?
Okay, well, you were losing the entire time. Like, why are you surprised? It says in the corner what place you're in.
And I think, you know, I used to live in Astoria, and my parents said, no, what?
Did you let me win?
No, I didn't know that it was already done.
It's okay. It's all right. You can get me the other time. So the other part of it
This
too.
is absurd.
It's okay.
Hold on,
It's okay. It's all right.
we gotta review this.
Okay.
We gotta
This
bring
is
in a
not
ref.
like Egypt.
We gotta bring in a ref
Okay,
here. This
there's
is absurd.
There's no
I was
rigging
lulled into
or-
What is he trying to do? Be Argentina? You're not Argentina, okay? They're not gonna like just change the outcome of a goal. By the way, Egypt had the game stolen. That game was rigged. Unironically, that game was fucking rigged. That game was fucking rigged. 100% unironically, that Egyptian game was rigged. The goal where they took the ball all the way across the entire pitch and then they went, oh yeah, there was a foul at the beginning of the play. No, that is fucking rigged. That is absolutely fucking rigged. All sports are rigged? Nah. Did you see only Egyptian fans got searched at the entrance of the game? What the fuck?
a sense of an extra lap.
There's no way you believe that. Are you telling me I don't believe that FIFA is corrupt? You're telling me that I don't think FIFA is corrupt, the most corrupt major sports league in the entire fucking world?
Israel shared new intelligence with the U.S.,
Although
which suggests Iran.
I do think sports are a lot more crooked now because of things like Kalshi. Like, you would be stupid not to like try to win Kalshi bets or have like members of your extended family winning Kalshi bets. You could just sit down with in a meaningless regular season game. You could sit down with your best friend and be like, I'm gonna go for one steal, you know, or I'm gonna only get, X amount, some like side stat, you know what I mean? And there's absolutely no fucking way that could be caught out unless you get really greedy. Unless you get really greedy and obvious, or you get caught. But you could easily, generate a couple wins.
Was plotting a new plan to kill President Trump. Now, Israel is not commenting thus far, but President Trump did bring this topic up multiple times yesterday. It was clearly on his mind. He talked about how his life could be at risk and mentioned specifically that he is Iran's top target.
They want to take out the U.S. leader, me. I'm on every list. I saw things this morning. I'm on every single one of their lists. I'm number one on the kill list for Iran. They're lovely people. I'm number one. I may be gone too, because I'm their number one target. It's out all over the place. I'm their number one because they're scum.
Were you aware of any credible threat by Iran against your
Well, I have a threat all the time. I'm number one on their list before you. But if I go, you go. Right?
Now, you see him there speaking on a plane here in that last clip. That was on board Air Force One, the old Air Force One, right, that he's gotten rid of because he has the new $400 million presidential jet that he was given by a foreign country, Middle Eastern country, Qatar. According to 4 U.S. officials, the reason Trump was forced to swap the jets while he was at the NATO event in Turkey was because of security concerns. 2 official sources tell CNN that the newer plane did not possess the same capabilities to ensure its quote-unquote safety in international settings. Well, it came as threats against Trump's life were quite visible at the funeral for the Iranian former supreme leader. We saw the funeral today. We've seen these days and days. We've been showing them to you. I think that if you can read, this becomes clear. It reads, "We will kill Trump." Massive, massive banner. And then, of course, there are smaller ones people are carrying, which read, "Kill Trump." Maggie, Trump has talked often about Iran targeting him. Yesterday, he talked about it repeatedly. And now, of course, the reporting is that there had been a specific warning from Israel about a plot yesterday. What do you think, knowing Trump, his response will be in the context of a war where a ceasefire is already technically off right now?
It's hard to say, Aaron, and I don't have any independent reporting about this latest threat, but it is correct, as you say. He has been under threat before from Iran for a very long time, going back to 2020. It is not a surprise. It may or may not have something to do with why there was the switch on the plane that he took to fly out of Turkey yesterday to leave the G7. He ended up going back to the old Air Force One, and obviously there's more to learn here. Whether it is going to make him make a different decision in terms of Iran, he has been more hawkish on Iran this entire time than most of his team. We get into that in detail in the book, and we explain how it was really always there to see if his advisors wanted to. Throughout term one, he was that way, even before he ordered the strike on General Soleimani, which is part of why he is a top target for Iran now. But his choices really, unless he wants to engage in a massive escalation, Aaron, are pretty limited. The U.S. munitions are depleted after this war. He does not want to send in boots on the ground. I think he would do that as a very last resort. So we'll see.
Jonathan, you do write in the book about how Trump really fused the assassination attempt at Butler with a Revolutionary Guard plot from Iran to kill him and other American politicians. That to him, as you report, that he saw this as one threat. How consumed is he, Jonathan, by threats against his life?
Well, you're exactly right. One element that people, I think, underestimate or understate is how much Trump's feelings about Iran intensified and became more personal in the interregnum period when he was out of office. He was briefed by the FBI.
This seems like one of those frantic lies they make with WMD hoax was it selling well in Iraq. I mean, like, does anybody, like, would any American, I think the majority of Americans, if Donald Trump was killed by Iran, would be like, yeah, that makes sense. I don't think Americans would take that as a severe provocation against our nation. And that's just a sign of the times, right? Like, I think Donald Trump is that profoundly unpopular. I'm not calling for it. I think it would be bad. Like, violence, because God knows what J.D. Vance would, do as president. You know what I mean? I'm sure he would crack down on the left in America as if it's our fault, right? Like, I'm not saying, and I don't, and by the way, people smile if in the chat if you agree. I don't think it would be a good thing. Like, in general, I would be pretty against it because I think Donald Trump is super unpopular. And I think a lot of people are fired up against him. And any kind of martyrdom status for Donald Trump is only going to cause God knows what kind of risk. That's the type of event that could shake things up. And right now, Donald Trump is on a death spiral. He's on his way to down, and him dying would definitely not be good.
That Iran was trying to kill him.
Unless he died from like a coronary for being a fat lard. At least, from eating nothing but Oreos and Big Macs all day. I do think that, after the midterm, it really doesn't matter. But right now, Abdul takes second place in fundraising. I'll be live on MSNBC around 8:15 p.m. to discuss my endorsement of Mike Bloomberg for president. This is the type of Democrat. This is the type of Democrat that would lose to any Republican. Who likes this woman? Insane. Honest to God. Top fundraisers from this week: James Talrico, Abdul El Sayed, John Ossoff, Sherrod Brown, and Mary Peltola. Why is John Ossoff the top fundraiser? Why the fuck are people pouring money into John Ossoff is gonna win. Who gives a fuck? He's winning by a quadrillion. Ignore that race. Focus on shit that actually matters. The centrist attack strategy. The new ad in Michigan 7th. Crush MAGA PAC attacks Bernie-endorsed Will Lawrence for running a dark money organization, Sunrise Movement, investing in Wall Street big oil data centers, his mutual fund, and campaigning against Democrats, voting uncommitted in the 2024 primary. Their strategy is to attack the left from the left. I try to make us sound like we're them.
What do we really know about Will Lawrence? He says he'll stand up to corporate interests, but financial records show he's invested thousands in Wall Street, big oil, and data centers. He says he opposes dark money in politics, but he spent years running a dark money organization.
Like, at this point, like, we are now entering the post-truth era where everyone is shameless. But what this shows is that the focus groups are saying we hate the right. Like, this is shameless. Shameless.
Himself. And Will Lawrence claims to be a progressive, but he campaigned against Democrats and was part of a movement that helped Trump win Michigan. That's the real Will Lawrence. Crush MAGA PAC is responsible for the content of this advertising.
Absolute disgusting, shameless lies. Holy fuck.
Hacked into the emails of Susie Wiles during the campaign, there was this sort of atmosphere of threat that was hanging over the campaign. Wherever they went, they switched planes at one time. And Trump has traveled far less this term than he has in the first term. He would not articulate this because it would be a sign of weakness, but there are advisors around him who believe that part of the reason for his much more homebound presidency this time around is fear of assassination, which is understandable given what he went through during the campaign.
This is really fascinating reporting.
I mean, yeah, remember how he used to do rallies and shit? The guy doesn't do anything anymore. He is fucking scared. He is completely fucking scared. That's absolutely true.
I mean, Maggie, I guess this brings us to the trip that he just took, right? So when he was in Turkey and that he had to leave Turkey on the old version of Air Force One, rather than the controversial plane that Qatar gifted to him and that just entered service July 1st, right? That he's been calling magnificent, and we all know he's proud about this. So in the book, you actually go through a lot of detail about how Trump wanted the Qatari jet because he was embarrassed by the old plane. It cost hundreds of millions of taxpayer dollars to get ready for Trump. I guess, Maggie, how surprising is it to you that it goes into
so they painted it like the old Trump jet, right? Like the new Air Force One is painted like the old Trump jet, right? Like they got rid of the baby blue, the powder blue.
July 1st. They take it to Turkey. Obviously, they didn't take it to Turkey thinking that it wasn't secure enough to be in Turkey and bring home. But now here it is. That appeared to be the case. How surprising is all this?
Well, we don't know what we don't know, Aaron, in terms of, what may or may not have been done in terms of security. But certainly, according to all of our reporting, this was done very quickly to try to get this plane ready so that he could fly it as president. We know that he was very upset about the fact that the two new Boeing jets that he had commissioned as the new Air Force Ones were not going to be ready in time before he left office for a variety of reasons. He was wowed by this new plane, as we write in the book. It was palatial. And he's been open about this. He thinks that it's commensurate with what a U.S. president ought to have. He thinks that other nations have fancier and nicer jets, but something clearly happened that the Secret Service was concerned about flying, because according to our colleagues' reporting, the Secret Service was concerned about him flying on that particular plane, and they wanted him to use the old jet. That is not something that you would normally do. You wouldn't take the old jet with you just for the sake of it. And, I assume we will learn more, but this was always a concern that some military officials, former and some current, had about this plan.
What more are you learning about this new intelligence that Israel shared with the U.S. about an Iranian plan to assassinate President Trump?
Yeah, so what we know is that Israel recently shared this fresh intelligence. It says that it indicates that there was a plan that, Iran was contemplating to kill Trump. And this would help to explain some of his behavior. And I think some of the statements that you guys played. We also saw, the chants at the funeral. And what's important to note is that these two men have been speaking, very frequently during the war, and they had late night phone calls, and they would talk about intelligence and targets, and the relationship recently soured.
So Trump did seem to, as you point out, right? He brought this up. I mean, there were many times that he talked about being Iran's top target yesterday.
So in other words, this is like listen, like there were definitely people chanting for Trump's death at the funeral, like there is definitely something to it. But CNN, as usual.
Know anything about the timing here? I mean, it all just seemed to be so intense in terms of his references just yesterday.
Yeah, I think this helps explain some of those statements. This intelligence was shared very recently, and we think that that's why he was making some of those statements. And this was obviously a concern to him. He has been a target of Iran in the past, but this has, been on his mind, and it's come up again and again.
Anat, do you know anything about, did they share anything about the method or how far along this plan was? Or obviously there was the development yesterday where people who were on board the old Air Force One reporters were told that they had to put down their window shades. The president said that he had not been told that by Secret Service. But do you know anything about the method or the timing of any possible plot?
No, we don't have these details right now. We just know that these two countries, you know, their cooperation, their military cooperation, intelligence cooperation has really reached unprecedented levels in this war. It's gotten much closer. You know, we have tankers parked at the Tel Aviv Ben Gurion airport. We have, you know, you have Israeli officials all over, you know, in different situation rooms in the U.S. And so this is not unusual.
Wow. We have, say again, Israeli officials all over,
you know, in different situation rooms in the U.S.
What? We have Israelis all over the U.S. at different situation rooms? What the fuck are you saying?
And so this is not unusual, but, you know, this is a different level of threat. And yeah, it obviously got...
I mean, our country is so compromised by Donald Trump and Israel, it's fucking insane. The fact that they are they are a hostile foreign state that deploys against the United States and its citizens. Like, we are so compromised, it's unbelievable. Holy shit. All right, chat. Next story, which is SpaceX is getting owned by China. China has just had one of their versions of the Long March rocket returning from orbit. Damn, we didn't really see the touchdown there, but looking pretty good. Not just some version, this is a critical moon landing component. This is big. Oh yeah. Oh, let's check this out, Oliver. This is cool as hell.
2、1，点火！点火！现在我们看到的是0秒开始点火了。这个点火的时候呢，我是在我们这个发动航母。
Okay, we launched. Launching is fun.
撕破空气是吧？这进入哪个阶段了？发动机，这时候是3台发动机点火。
对，我们是先3台，然后再1台。
现在看到领航者好了，
已经看到了。我们是瞄准这个网系的中心，可以看到还是非常非常的精准。
这时候防护声已经起来，这时候基本上已经10拿9稳了，
非常漂亮。
这是最后一步，1台发动机点火，
是很稳。这时候挂钩也展开，
这时候应该是一个绝对的、相对的零速度。
对，我们就可以叫这个悬停嘛，准悬停，我们停在这个网系上。
这时候理论上来说，它的距离就是标记的距离和你的速度应该都是2个0。
They have like this really interesting lattice that seems there to catch. The square structure holds a net up that the rocket arms catch on. Oh, really interesting. What does this accomplish? See, when you have a rocket, the expensive part of the rocket is the engines and the tank. And there's a lot of engineering that goes with that. So the fuel is relatively cheap. Something like, you know, it's not that expensive to fill the rocket. I mean, it costs, you know, a few $1 million, but it's, you know, relative to the intricacy and the difficulty of, you know, building rocket engines and the structures. When you recover that, it makes reusing it and returning to orbit, it lowers the cost dramatically, right? So that's the point of like having the reusable rocket, right? This is the reason that SpaceX is supposedly worth $2 quadrillion. Yeah, exactly. So when China is able to accomplish the same thing, what gives Elon Musk the idea that he's some sort of like pioneer that only he can do this reusable rocket thing, it's really not that hard. If China, which is a relatively new country to the space race, is able to replicate that relatively easily, you know, like part of advancing is being able to catch up to what your competitors are doing, right? Like if you can replicate what your competitors are doing almost like very quickly after they do it, that is half of the equation or greater of being a competitor, you know? First movers very rarely actually profit under capitalism. It is the people that are able to successfully commercialize that profit. Inventors, developers of new techniques, they're not necessarily the ones that win. Yeah, we talked about this before, but one of America's greatest rocket engineers was chased out of our country due to the Red Scare. Because he was a socialist and a Chinese citizen, He was basically chased out of our country during the Red Scare, and he basically launched China's space program. It's actually really disgusting and embarrassing. Qian was a Chinese citizen, but the Republic of China was an ally of the U.S., so there was no massive suspicion about a Chinese scientist at the heart of the American space endeavor. He was given a security clearance to work on classified weapons research and even served on the U.S. government Science Advisory Board. But at the end of the war, he was one of the world's foremost experts on jet propulsion and was set with Theodor von Karman on an extraordinary mission to Germany, holding the temporary rank of lieutenant colonel. Their goal was to interview Nazi engineers, including Werner von Braun, Germany's leading rocket scientist. America wanted to find out exactly what the Germans knew. By the end of the decade, Qian's glittery career in the U.S. came to a sudden halt, and his life began to unravel. In China, Chairman Mao declared the creation of the Communist People's Republic, and quickly the Chinese came to be seen in the U.S. as the evil ones. So we went through these periods in the U.S. where we were infatuated with China, then something happens and we reviled China, he says. Meanwhile, a new director at the JPL came to believe there was a spy ring at the lab, and he shared his suspicion about some members of the staff of the FBI. I note that they are all either Chinese or Jewish, says Fraser MacDonald. The Cold War was underway, and the anti-communist witch hunts of the McCarthy era were just around the corner. It was this atmosphere that the FBI accused Qian, Frank Malina, and others of being communists and a threat to national security. The charges against Qian were based on a 1938 document of the U.S. Communist Party that showed he had attended a social gathering that the FBI suspected was a meeting of the Pasadena Communist Party. Though Qian denied being a party member, new research suggests he joined at the same time as Frank Malina in 1938. This doesn't necessarily make him a Marxist. To be a communist at this time was a statement of anti-racism, says Fraser MacDonald. Well, that's communism. Anti-racism is socialist. Anti-racism is communist. So of course they were accusing him. You know what I mean? Like, all these ideas about equality among the races are left-wing views. It's so funny how liberals try to be like, no, we were, you know, what do you mean anti-racism doesn't mean you're a socialist? Yes, it fucking does. The group wanted to highlight the threat of fascism as well as the horror of racism in the U.S. They were campaigning, for example, against the segregation of the local Pasadena swimming pool and used their communist meetings to discuss it. There is no evidence that Qian ever spied for China or was an intelligence agent when he was in the U.S. He was, however, stripped of his security clearance and put under house arrest. Caltech colleagues, including Theodor von Karman, wrote to the government pleading for his innocence, but in vain. In 1955, when Qian had spent 5 years under house arrest, based on what? This is how fascist our fucking country was and is. President Eisenhower took the decision to deport him to China. The scientist left by boat with his wife and 2 U.S.-born children, telling waiting reporters he would never step foot in America again. He kept his promise. Isn't this fucking gross? He was one of the most prominent scientists in America. He had contributed so much and could have contributed much more. So it's not just humiliation, but also a sense of betrayal. Qian arrived as a hero in China, but was not immediately admitted to the Chinese Communist Party. His record was not impeccable. His wife was the aristocratic daughter of a nationalistic leader. Qian's fall from grace, he'd been living happily in America. He'd even taken the first step toward applying for citizenship. And because of this deportation, he oversaw the launch of the first Chinese satellite in space, but in only 15 years. And he laid the foundations for China's lunar exploration program. Like, this is what this like Red Scare shit does to America. This anti-communist Red Scare shit is one of the biggest gifts that was ever given to China. But by the way, we loved ex-Nazis, right? We loved ex-Nazis. Werner von Braun, promoted, forgiven, brought in. Braun had been a Nazi, and yet his achievements are recognized in a way that Qian and others from JPL are not, MacDonald says. The idea that America's first viable space program was started by homegrown socialists, whether Jewish or Chinese, is not really a story that the U.S. is able to hear about itself, he says. Fucking it's all propaganda to make us hate. I mean, it's just embarrassing. What an embarrassing shithole country. All right, chat. Ladies and gentlemen, there is a story that I haven't talked about, but I really need to, which is Asmongold and Emiru. Mike was right about Asmongold and Emiru sending the N-word, like Asmongold and Emiru laughing, using the N-word. Like, that's basically it. I mean, how would you describe this, chat? What would be the best way of describing this scandal? Slur enjoyers. That's a good way of putting it. Thank you. Asmongold and Emiru. Big slur enjoyers. And this, like, I don't know how else to put it. I told you so. Like, Mike was right again. Mike is right. Oh my God, what is this? I mean, take a look. Take a look. Your friends support ICE. Mike exposes Emiru's unacceptable indifference. 5 months ago. 5 months ago, I called this out. So I didn't wait until after, right? Did Emmy say, or was it just Asmongold? She was trashing Pokimane. Let me bring up some of these tweets. She was, and what it's so funny is like Asmongold. Oh God, dude, he's such a fucking loser, man. He's such an absolute loser. Leaked messages between Asmongold and Emiru show him bragging about using the N-word with the hard R for his passwords, in addition to saying it all the time with his friends. I have super bad stuff online and no one cares. LOL. A creative, huh? Like I'm talking really creative shit like that. N-word password. Screenshotted JK. She wasn't JKing. She was actually screenshotting. Screenshotted JK. At a certain point, it wasn't even the word anymore. LOL. Everyone knows I said it. Don't worry. Omega lol. I think I even have videos of me saying it. Really? LOL. Yeah, like I have super bad stuff online and no one cares. LOL. But Pokimane is a racist for her clips. I don't know what emote this is. Omega what? What is this? What is this emote? By the way, 2 a.m. But you don't try to act perfect, I guess. That's why people hate her. Not because of the words, LOL. It's the fakeness, 100%. What fakeness? What fakeness? What the fuck are you talking about? I don't use the N-word in private. If you got unfiltered access to my Discord, you would never see me saying the N-word. It's almost as if I don't use the N-word. I don't say it in person. I don't say it in private. I don't say it in message. Like, what the fuck are you saying? It's nonsense. It's bullshit.
Help, like, even, like, I don't know. Like, obviously I don't, like, dislike any of the political streamers, except for, like, some of, like, the really bad ones. I don't really like them. But it's like, I don't understand how in the first place people care so much.
Bro, you're very close to someone who harasses and defames us on a regular basis. And they're saying N-words to you in the chat, in your fucking DMs. And your audience is made up of some of the most disgusting people on the entire website. And you have the gall to attack us as they, you know, cook up hate mobs against Hassan, hate mobs against me, hate mobs against Denims, hate mobs against Frogan, hate mobs against Pokimane. They did hate mobs against Maya even. But you don't like us. Oh, okay.
What they say. I guess it's because they just have a lot of reach or influence, but it's like, why are you listening to them in the first place? I don't know.
Why is anybody listening to Asmongold? I mean, I'll tell you why people, I mean, I don't know about a lot of the other streamers. I mean, there are some streamers who have literally done nothing but stream their entire lives, who are relatively popular, which I don't understand, but it is what it is. We talk about politics. But Hassan has poli-sci degree. Hassan has been involved in journalism and commentary for over a decade. I ran for office in 2013, 2014. I went to law school. I have an undergraduate degree in legal studies, poli-sci, philosophy. You know, minors in philosophy. You know, concentrations, right? Like I have been talking. I worked in the Committee of Urban Affairs. You know, I ran for office myself. I served in campaigns, as well as having. So my expertise is in campaigns, in policy, in law. So people listen to me because I make articulable predictions about the world, and they either come true or they don't. And for the most part, my analysis has hit pretty damn well. If you listen to what I've been saying about messaging, you've been listening to what I say about electability, about elections and their outcomes, about how policies would be enacted or wouldn't be enacted and why. You've done a pretty good job of understanding the world. So it's a combination of both my credentials, my background, and the outcomes of what I say and whether or not it makes sense. So, like, listen to us. Why would you listen to any other political figure? You know, I have politicians coming on in my stream to campaign with me. The front runner for Wisconsin's governor. We've had multiple congressional candidates on this stream, including one who has won. We have multiple elected officials who have won their elections, from local, like city councilors in Jersey City, state representatives across the country, leaders of DSA, the national co-chairs of DSA have been on my stream. We have had Claire Valdez, Congresswoman from New York City, on this stream. We've had Francesca Hong. I mean, like, you are talking about actual political work that results in outcomes in the real world. I've raised over $100,000 this year, going into early last year. So the last like 12 months, 12 calendar months on this stream. We have literally affected American politics. We're not just grifting. I mean, like, there are other streamers, right, who are kind of grifting and who don't really do anything real. That is true. But you cannot look at my stream. You cannot look at Hassan's stream. You cannot look at places like the Majority Report and say, oh yeah, or even Kyle Kalinske and say they don't do anything real. It's just people on the internet talking. No, we are connected to actual movements. We are affecting outcomes in the real world, whether it's protest movements like supporting the Gaza encampments and the way they have helped change America's position on Israel. Fuck, even now, Asmongold is now scared to call himself pro-Israel because of the work we've done. Bro, you don't do any of that. What are you talking about? What have I not done? Who are you and what have I not done? What have I not? Oh, you followed since 23 seconds ago. Bro, you just followed me 23 seconds ago. How do you know what I've done? I literally just listed it. Emiru really is that two-faced pick-me girl for those racist incels, man. Oh, abso-fucking-lutely. I mean, like, absolutely. That's her. Basically, she has spent her time laundering the reputations of actual predators. Whether it was child porn enjoyers, whether it was actual sexual assaulters, or third, vicious misogynists and racists. So I'm talking about Tectone. I'm talking about Asmongold. I'm talking about, what's his fucking name? The guy who got caught with child porn. Lakari. Rich Campbell, a fucking another guy who is a predator. And you know, either she is okay with it or she doesn't care. And to me, that's incredibly fucked up. You know? And by the way, it doesn't go the other way. When there was a weird fan interaction at TwitchCon, Hassan and I and Denims and all the people that she's happy to see attacked or doesn't give a shit when we get attacked, we came to her defense. We criticized Twitch. We called for better protection of streamers. We showed solidarity with her when she was assaulted by a fan. And I'm not saying this because, it shows I'm a better person. It just says, like, the idea that both sides are bad or both sides are equal is not true. But again, at same TwitchCon, did Emiru say anything when Emmy Rome was attacked by an incel mob? Did she say a goddamn word about Emmy Rome being walked up on by Neon? And then when she said, oh, I'm being objectified, and walked away, and he called her friend fat and attacked her and exposed her to all those incel attacks that creates the misogynistic society and culture of Twitch, did she say a fucking thing about Emmy Rome? I mean, maybe she did. I'm literally asking. This clip is nuts. She got 65 Asmon raids. She wasn't doing it for free. This was her reward for being such a good little chud Discord kitten. Thousands of viewers and raids every stream from him and his racist community.
I got 65 Zach Rar raids.
What? 65 Zach Rar raids? And that's the thing. In order for these people to sleep at night, they pretend like for me, example, 65 raids. 65 raids. Have I even given 65? Like, I mean, I probably have given 65 raids to VO. Probably, maybe not for this year. I don't know about that. 65 raids in a year. Imagine 65 Hassan raids to my channel. If I had 65 Hassan raids to my channel, I believe that I would be a 10K Andy. And I'm not saying that because it's like, oh my God, I am, I'm so amazing. The other thing is I don't bot. Did she get capped? Hey, Miss gives receding hairline, which is true. Did she get capped? So she bots and she gets 65 raids from Asmongold in 1 year. That's fucking insane. Oh my God, dude. You'd have to change your stream schedule. Does Hassan even raid anybody anymore? If Hassan told me, Mike, I'll raid you, I would fucking do it. Of course I would. If he said, Mike, I will give you 65 raids, I'd be live for 65 days in a row. I'd gain 100,000 followers from that or some shit. You know what I mean? Like, what the fuck are you saying? Of course I would. Mike, visit China and you would get more followers. So true. I'm going to start posting on Billy. He raided Will and Caroline not too long ago. I mean, he used to raid Will on a pretty regular basis. Hate watchers would harass people in his name, so he stopped. Honestly, I can handle it. Assad, I can handle it. Bring me all the hate watchers. I already have them. They're already calling me. They're yelling at me on MSNBC. I can handle the hate raiders. If anyone could, you could. Of course I could. I've been attacked by all the biggest Nazis in the entire world. If there's anybody who could handle it, I could take it. Anyway, let's keep going. Asmongold says he's suing Miskiff for leaking his Discord messages with Emir. What would you sue him for? Oh my God. Theo, would you like a raid? I need to catch up. Emiru got 65 raids from Asmongold in 1 year. Now this is how you get raids. No, I'm just kidding, chat. Theo does this for me. Holy moly. We've got fried eggs. We've got bacon. We've got hash browns. We've got a Elgin waffle. What the fuck? I don't even have enough room for this. What the fuck? The feeder is back. Nice. Thank you, Vio. What the hell? How did you get to be so lucky? Honestly, you want my honest to God answer? Being a good person. Like, legitimately, if you want to know why I believe that I've been lucky in life, it's from being a good person. I believe I'm a good person, and I try to be generous with other people and get nothing in return. I just help people, and I expect nothing in return, and my life has been blessed. Even though, like, and I've been down in the dirt. I was down in the dirt, guys, like, at a really low point. Back in, like, 2015, 2016, I was really depressed. And honestly, my life started to rise and improve as I became a socialist. Unironically, becoming a socialist gave my life purpose, and it opened me up to so many more opportunities and so much more connection with my community. It like literally saved my life, and it turned it around completely. And the more I gave, the more I got back. Unironically. We love you, Mike. You've helped me get through some stuff. Seriously, thank you. And you know what, guys? I'm not perfect. I make mistakes. I fuck up. You know, I make bad calls. Sometimes I'm ugly, both, you know, in my personality or getting frustrated or, you know, like, I am far from a perfect person. And when somebody doesn't like me, honestly, my reaction is like, you know, I probably did something to deserve your disgust. You know, like, I probably fucked up and did something that was alienating to you. I always think that they're probably right. You know what I mean? Where I'm like, you know what? I probably did or said something really arrogantly, or I was really condescending, or I was a dick. And so overall, like, I just want you to know that for me, like, when you ask, how did you get so lucky? I am very lucky. My life is amazing. I am somebody who is incredibly blessed and fortunate. I am self-actualized. I have friends. I have a beautiful family. I have, you know, my health so far. Everything could be better, of course. I could always improve. But, like, you know, when I wake up in the morning, and when I feel anxious, it's because I haven't done enough to help other people. Literally. That is the energy that hangs over my head. The thing that hangs over my head, the thing that gives me anxiety is like, I need to do more to help other people. That is, honest to God, such a blessing. So, like, yeah, you know, like, this breakfast I just got from Vio is incredibly beautiful and kind, and I don't even deserve it. You know what I mean? That's how I feel. So my suggestion is to get involved. And I can't promise that everybody's life is going to be perfect, but I can just tell you from my point of view, becoming a socialist was the time my life turned around. Legitimately, that was the moment. It sucks. I really am dying. I'm so sorry to hear that, brother. I hope that we can join in community with you, and we can, and I want to fight for you as much as I can. I know this community is here for you. So the moment the G-Bucks started rolling in, I wish. I fucking wish. I don't believe in cosmic karma, where an unseen force enforces the scales of karma in the universe at writ large, but I do believe we could enforce ourselves. No, it's not cosmic karma. It's just the nature of making connection with other human beings. Generosity, kindness. There is a huge effort in our society to try to tell you that that shit is bad, that shit doesn't help you. There's a huge buildup of like, oh no, you're being taken advantage of. There's a huge energy to try to convince you to be cynical. And what that does is sever you from connection. I can't promise you that every person that you meet, you need to be street smart. You need to be aware. You need to keep your wits about you. You need to understand that you have to filter for people that are trustworthy and kind. You can't just be a rube, and there are hostile people are there, and there are people that will take advantage. And sometimes you're going to be betrayed. Like, that is the reality. If you're not being betrayed, you're not pushing hard enough, is how I feel. I get fucking betrayed pretty regularly. You know, like, I have somebody that I thought I fucked with go and do something evil to me. Happened to me like yesterday. You know what I did? Blocked and move on. You betray my trust? Okay, bye. You know, like, block and move on. It didn't even bother me for more than 10 minutes because, again, it's just them filtering themselves out of our movement, out of our lives. You know, I have had friendships go south because of envy, jealousy, resentment that was flourishing I didn't know about. It happens. Like, is it karma that I got shot and paralyzed at 17 before my brain was even developed, that no material could do? I mean, no, dude. That's incredibly bullshit. And the universe is fucked. And I want us to build a society where shit like that happens as uncommon instead of brutally common like it is right now, when we have literally hundreds of thousands of gunshot wounds every year. Not to make light of your individual experience, and I'm so sorry for that, man, and I'm sorrowful for you. And it's bullshit. The universe is uncaring and unfair. It is. That's what we're trying to prevent. That's what our movement is about. Our movement is about we don't cope with just world theory. We don't cope with some spiritual score that's going to be settled after we all die. I don't believe in a divine redeemer. I don't believe in karmic justice. I believe in constructing paradise here, constructing accountability here, constructing and fighting for justice here and now. There is no redeemer. There is no God that's going to come in and like enforce justice. Justice is what we make it. That is the most empowering fucking reality to learn. It's also frustrating. My goal in life, man, is I can't take back what happened to you. And again, I'm sorrowful for it, but we're going to build a society where you live the best fucking life that we can make for you. We're going to work as hard as we can on the real questions. Like, how do we improve our medical science right now sucks ass. We are so far away from solving injury, from solving disease, from solving, genetic abnormalities and sicknesses. And we have so much work to do to make human lives better. We're so far away from doing it, and we're not focusing on it. We're not spending our minds and our hearts on that. We're spending it on bombs and domination. It's sickening. I'm sorry for ranting about politics like this. I don't know if it even makes sense. I'm just like, that's what makes me get up every day, you know? That's what clears the fog of depression or anxiety. It's like every day we do another thing to try to make the world better. And yes, sometimes it feels like I'm throwing a rock into a fucking bottomless pit. But sometimes we succeed. All right, let's go back to making fun of Asmongold, the fucking disgusting rat.
You gonna address Discord messages? No, I saw that there were leaks about things that I may or may not have said. No, I'm not gonna talk about any of it because I'm in a lawsuit. Nice try, but no. Yeah, I'm gonna talk about when the lawsuit's over. And then after that, I'll talk about it. Yeah. It's really simple. Like I already said this. I mean, I already said it.
I think it means
I don't know what
lawsuit.
we're doing, right? But like, yeah, that's clearly it. And so, yeah, I know that. And no, it's not gonna work. It's not gonna work. Yes, I'll talk about everything after the lawsuit's over, after I'm out of it, and then I'll have a lot to say. But until then, I'm just going to be relaxing, chilling, doing whatever, and people can draw whatever conclusions they want. So that's the way I see it. You gonna address Discord?
One of the things that's funny is he's one of the biggest simps on the entire platform. Asmongold equals simp. Because the funny thing is, 65 raids to Eviru, which is like legitimately hilarious. He's on his knees going, "Notice me, queen, please. I gave you all my incels and I gave you my bot company." Can you imagine any other and what's the result been? What has the result been? Holy shit, that's fucking awesome, man. Pathetic. Holy shit, why is this so fucking long? Oh my god, dude. Why is this so fucking long? I don't think I want to watch Miskiff shit. I'll be completely honest with you. But here's the other thing I will say. Miskiff is a scumbag, but like, I think whistleblowing is good. I think whistleblowing is streamer drama slop. Guys, this is our platform. This guy is part of American politics. You know what I mean? Like, this is American politics. He's promoted by the world's richest man. They're all connected to Elon Musk. They're all connected to the right wing. Like the idea that this is just drama slop. Drama slop would just be, you know, some streamer doesn't like some other streamer. This is literally about how American politics is being shaped through the culture war. And Asmongold is a bad faith liar who enjoys lying. Banned for an entire week because I said I don't give a fuck about the opinions of illiterate third worlders. Would someone be banned for saying they don't care about what an American's opinion is on the Middle East? Of course not. Blatant double standard. I didn't break TOS. After watching the Iranian Revolution unfold in real time over the last week, it's clear to me the world is witnessing history in the making. There he is taking Israeli money to promote what was a Mossad operation, I guess, to undermine, like, you know, overthrow the government of Iran to help Israel attack. And guess what, guys? There wasn't an Iranian, that didn't happen. After the absolute blowout in Venezuela and previously with Iran, it becomes increasingly clear that the 20-year war in the Middle East was by design. What blowout? What win in Iran? What are you talking about? The U.S. is literally still in there, failing, getting humiliated. The United States just said that a U.S. aircraft carrier was under a missile attack. Here we are, 7 months in, and the Pentagon is saying they had to defend the aircraft carrier from missile attacks. Also, love our corporate media. Here we go, Mike.
Now, CNN anchor Pamela Brown is aboard the USS Abraham Lincoln in the Arabian Sea. We can see the deck right there, Pam. First, just tell us where you are and what's going on behind you.
All right.
Guys, give me all the clips of Asmongold sucking off Israel. We need to put the compilation of Asmongold loves Israel, and he's a pathetic worm.
Hey, John, a lot going on here on the USS, and I'm on what's called...
Do you think he's being paid by Israel? I think that he's being propped up by bot networks that are paid for by trillionaires or billionaires, yes. 100%. How do you know? Because if you make a video about Asmongold, it gets absolutely no motion. But if I make a video, I get more of motion for making a video about Destiny or Ethan Klein than I do about Asmongold. Why? Because Asmongold doesn't have fans. It's the most botted ass shit of all time. Honestly, most of the time, like when you talk about like Asmongold fans that come and attack you, it's usually groypers, not Asmongold fans. The fans are fans of Nick Fuentes that are coordinating with Asmongold. But most of the time, it's not just like an Asmongold fan. No, they're usually Nick Fuentes associated groyper types.
Row, so we really have a front row seat to all of the action that's happening here. There have been planes landing, fighter jets, F-35s landing.
Does it surprise you that it's only Shahed drones and not anti-ship missiles? Because the aircraft carriers are really far away. So it's very unlikely that an anti-ship missile would have the range. You would need an incredibly sophisticated missile that Iran doesn't have the capability for. And even then, they might be intercepted. Like, the thing about anti-ship missiles and the technology required, like, only China really has the anti-ship technology to strike the U.S. aircraft carriers. And even then, we're not sure how successful they would be. So, like, we're talking about, like, this is... The fact that the United States is even being threatened at all is unbelievable.
Throughout the day, and I want to show you this destroyer right by the ship. It's actually pulling up close to the ship. This is the Frank E. Jr. destroyer. This is the point of the 12 sailing.
Hassan talked about Politico about Troy Jackson. Why did you do this? Hassan, why did you do this? Why did you do this? Hassan, what are you doing? You're not a little streamer anymore. You can't give takes like this, man. You can't take takes like this, man. I'm getting followed by Politico's national politics correspondent. They're starting to pay attention to me, man. You can't give takes like this anymore. You're a political operator. You're probably one of the socialism's most prominent voices in the world. Outside of China, you cannot do this anymore. I saw a CNN mention of you yesterday. Oh, really? Oh, no. What the fuck? Is Emiru canceled? You think we're going to be able to cancel the incel's favorite streamer? Come on. He's very stubborn. He doesn't want to accept how big his platform has grown because it's scary, man. It's scary to be important. Mike, get a suit? Fuck you. I'd rather wear this. I mean, maybe we'll get the campaign to help with that in some way. Fuck ice. Yeah, that's why I'm a streamer, dude. Does it gonna fly? We're not. We're not. Even me, like, as much as I feel like I'm just a streamer, dude, I am now a national political topic of conversation because our fundraiser for, because this is why. Oh, I can't show you guys. Hold on. It's gonna dox me. Oh, Christ. I almost doxed myself. That would have been bad. This is why. I just took a screenshot and we'll show you this. Okay, let me make sure I don't dox myself. Screen capture. You see this, chat? Central Committee support for Francesca Hong for governor. I have raised for Francesca Hong $35,383.80, which means I am definitely one of the top fundraisers for a socialist candidate in the entire country. $35,383.80 from my community alone is nationally. Like, have you heard that somebody got $35,000 from someone? Don't you think that you want to know who that person is? I am now that level. Hassan is on a whole nother fucking level. Hassan competes with national political forces. Do you understand? That's why they're talking about us, because we matter, because we are literally changing politics in America. You know how hard it is for a socialist candidate to raise this amount of money? This is just one of our fundraisers. Just one. This makes me, like, I honestly, and this is, I'm not trying to flex on DSA, but like, my fundraisers are on par with national DSA campaign fundraisers or greater than. Our independent media voices, and Hassan is bigger than them. Like, Hassan is legitimately bigger than DSA's fundraisers for their candidates. I'm on par. It's not even just the money. Your committee is full of actively politically engaged people who will agitate and volunteer for candidates. For example, in just a few hours, Hassan's phoned back 90,000 phone numbers for Daria Lisa. Well, it's not even that. It's also, and this is the thing, when people raise money and you donate through my fundraiser for Francesca, that you go on her list, and I bet you they've raised even more than this from the list. Like, if any of you gave her money through an email or a text or another phone, like a phone call, after this, I helped her build her fundraising list. So this has probably led to, you know, at least $50,000 of donations for her, if not more, because I'm sure you guys donated again. By the way, every time you donate to Francesca, do it through my link. Help me get the credit. But I'm just saying, like, this is about, like, literally and by the way, other socialist campaigns and other progressive campaigns who are aligned with Francesca, they're going to be able to contact you for volunteer work or fundraising through her, because she will, unfortunately, I hate to tell you this, chat, she will tell other socialists that you're a socialist and that you help socialists. I'm sorry, guys. This is just, it happens. I don't know if she's actually going to do that. It just, you should expect that to happen. You should expect that. Anytime you help a politician, that's what they do. I'm sorry. It's not like Fran's going to do it. It's that their staff, here's what's going to happen. The staff of other socialists are going to look at who donated to Fran, and they're going to say, these are very likely socialists. And they might send you an email or something. You know, like, that's the way it's going to happen. You know, it is what it is. I'm sorry. You could just unfollow people, by the way. You could unsubscribe. It's not that big a deal. It's not even socialist. I get mass texts by Shapiro. Hit unsubscribe and stop. Asmongold might be the dumbest guy ever. Okay, hold on. So this is why. Like, legitimately, we are a top fundraiser for Francesca Hong. In the olden days, they would call me a bundler. In the old days, I could get myself appointed to ambassador of, you know what I mean? Like legitimately. When AOC runs for office, I'm going to get myself an AOC fundraiser, and I'm going to ask to become ambassador to Austria. Appoint me as ambassador to Austria. Now. I don't speak Chinese, otherwise I would do it. I'm kidding. Unless. Unless. I would never survive a Senate appointment hearing.
Wait a minute. I just thought of something.
Is Sam Altman Jewish? Is this his stream? Is this his fucking stream? Grokking? Yeah, Sam Altman is Jewish. He was born in 1985 in Chicago to a Jewish American family and was raised in St. Louis, Missouri. His mother is Connie Gibstein, and his father was Jerry Altman, a real estate broker. His paternal great-grandfather immigrated from Plock, Poland. He has spoken about anti-Semitism as a significant and growing issue, especially in the context of events since October 7th.
Wait a minute. I just thought of something. What if he's shutting down Sora to help Israel so that Iran doesn't have more videos of blowing up Israel. Because this basically destroys Iran's... I mean, at this point, like, if you're shutting down the ability for them to make AI videos, how can Iran win the war?
Iran is not winning the war because of AI videos, although some AI videos exist that were very successful for propaganda, like the Lego videos. The Lego videos making songs making fun of Iran and the US and Trump. They did go super viral online. But Iran bombed the United States' bases and forced us to withdraw from the Middle East and hide in like civilian hotels and shit. And they successfully struck things like THAAD battery was destroyed. They destroyed a lot of radar systems. That's why they were able to have an F-4 fighter jet fly in and bomb Kuwait. When's the last time America was bombed by an enemy? And one of the most audacious airstrikes ever conducted against American since the Vietnam fucking War, we got bombed by an F-4. I'm sorry, F-5. Excuse me, it was an F-5. Which is honestly one of my favorite jets, and I wish I had one. I'd love to have an F-5. They're cool as hell. And they probably wouldn't even be that expensive to maintain, right, chat? Like, Hassan could afford it, right?
It's over. It's over. Israel's won. That's it. They've shut down the video making. I think you're right, guys. This is bad for Iran, I guess.
He is legitimately one of the dumbest pieces of shit I've ever seen. He is legitimately one of the dumbest people. So I guess he's saying that because Sam Altman is Jewish, therefore he's pro-Israel, and therefore he's shutting down AI videos because the only evidence of Iran winning the war is an AI video. If that was the, like...
So many of these people are actual goyim, and you've been convinced that Israel is your biggest enemy while you side with other people that want to ethnically and demographically replace you.
Why are you using goyim to disparage people who don't like Israel, which is a word in Hebrew describing non-Jews, which, while it's not technically a slur, if you put stank on it, it might as well be a slur. It's like gringo, right? Like gringo is not a slur, but if you put stink on it, it can become kind of a slur, although it's for white people, so it doesn't count. But you get my point. Like, what's another good, another one would be like the way people say Jew. Like if you call someone, hey, they're a Jew, that's probably fine. But if you're like, I don't like, and that's putting stank on it, right? And that would probably be kind of anti-Semitic. But my general feeling about Asmongold is, how are you so in the pocket of Israel? How is this possible?
In a different way, and you think that they're on their side. That's what's happening to you, and you're being played for a fucking fool. You've been poison pilled, and do you know why? It's because you're winning. It's because you're winning astronomically. You're completely destroying every one of their designs.
That's not true at all. America is getting fucking owned. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? America is now having to accept the Islamic Republic. We're almost running out of oil, and our oil strategic reserve is at its all-time low. At least it's 1983. How are we winning? Oil stocks in U.S. Strategic Petroleum Reserve fall to lowest levels since 1983. How is this winning?
You have totally removed the idea of, genital mutilation for children because
First of all, like, this is the other thing.
They've been psyoped by their parents.
I'm sorry. I hate to be an intactivist, but America circumcises baby boys as like standard behavior, which is an unnecessary optional procedure that involves a lot of risk to the child for no fucking reason. Well, there is a reason, but it's a barbaric practice that's fucking weird. So why is that genital mutilation ignored? Meanwhile, genital mutilation is not a practice of Islam. It is a cultural practice in some areas that include areas that have Muslim populations, but it's not standard in Islam to do a female genital mutilation or female circumcision. That's not true. That's not a Muslim belief. It is a cultural belief of some people that are Muslim. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Why is it standard in America? I don't know. It's fucking weird. Most Christian men I have slept with were circumcised. Yes, because in America, we do circumcisions for no fucking reason. It's very weird. It's not a Christian thing either.
To think that they're the opposite gender. DEI has been all but destroyed. You've had all of the pride flags hanging off the White House replaced by muscle cars and fucking motorcycles.
I'm sorry, but are you 5 IQ? Is he 5 IQ? He unironically seems like he's 5 IQ. And I know people are going to tell me IQ is not that accurate, but in this case, it's accurate. Pride flags got taken down for muscle cars. The federal government's budget is $6 trillion. And you're talking about muscle cars instead of the fact that our money is being stolen and shipped overseas and wasted on the Pentagon or wasted on these dumb fucking wars. Meanwhile, go outside. The highways are fucking in terrible shape. We have no good public transit. Housing is at the highest level it's ever been. By the way, is this winning? This was today. This is today. Home prices across the U.S. surged to all-time high. Are you tired of, like, he wants you to think about muscle cars at the White House instead of the fact that nobody can afford a goddamn house. He wants you to pay attention to DEI going down instead of the fact that gas is $4.50, $5 a fucking gallon. He wants you to pay attention to, what is the other thing that he's claiming is good? Oh, like 10 people that are trans can't compete at high school sports. I want to show you something. Like, obviously, if you're an Asmongold watcher, you don't care about facts. Like, you don't care about this. But Utah governor, trans athletes, veto. The Republican governor of Utah vetoed a bill to ban trans people competing in sports. And he said why. Do you want to know why? In Utah, there were 75,000 high school kids participating in high school sports. There were 4 transgender kids playing high school sports. Four. And only one of them was a trans girl. One. So 75,000 trans girls, or excuse me, 75,000 athletes, high school athletes in Utah. One trans girl. One. Three of the trans athletes were trans boys, meaning assigned female at birth who were transitioning to become men or males. And none of them were winning championships. Like, so literally made up story. And Asmongold is saying it's important. It's made the fuck up. And yeah, I think the one trans girl should be able to play sports to have a friend, have friends and be part of and be accepted. Who cares? Who fucking cares? And they're bringing this up like it's a real thing because they want to distract you from the fact that you can't afford a fucking house. You can't afford to educate yourself. Student debt hit another all-time high. That was from 3 weeks ago. So student debt all-time high, housing prices all-time high. But guys, there's muscle cars at the White House and one trans girl can't play sports in Utah. Are you fucking stupid? Are you subhuman? But again, they can never debate on the issues. They can't talk about this shit on the fucking issues. Oh, guys, we're winning. We made people mad on the computer. I made people mad on the computer.
You have a UFC fight in front of the fucking White House that the president attends for his birthday. You have had a cultural victory.
What is this, Civ 5? Guys, we got a cultural victory. In the White House, great wonder, we slotted in the UFC work of art. What the fuck are you talking about, man? What cultural? You didn't win shit. Everyone hates Trump. What the fuck are you talking about? You guys are going to have President AOC. We're going to be paying for Piss Christ installations at every Christian community. You're about to see, we're going to fund every barista in America and give them an art scholarship where they can go around and do vagina monologues in every public park. Like, what the fuck? We're about to win a cultural victory, the likes of which you've never seen. We're going to hire 18 DEI administrators in every monster truck rally. I prefer Gwen swole Korean Jesus who looks like he shreds it up the fuck up in the gym. Wait, what? You're going to have to link me that. And what's up? Lesbian hot sauce sounds actually really good. I feel like, okay, I'm about to say something problematic. I feel like butch lesbians are would have a good hot sauce recommendation. I feel like they would. Because unfortunately, I have too many femme friends and like none of them like hot food like me. You know, I need some like hot sauce enjoyers. There's this one North Korean restaurant that I really love in LA. It's like one of my favorite restaurants, unironically. One of the best restaurants in LA is a North Korean restaurant. And they have like wings that are so fucking good. They're spicy as hell. But every time I'm like, are you sure you can handle it? Everyone's always like, yeah, I can handle it. And then we get them and they're fucking destroyed. So I'm forced to eat them all. Forced? Are you guys calling me fat?
That is so massive and widespread that it's caused them to cancel entire TV shows because they're afraid of the backlash. You have completely destroyed them culturally. And the only
keeping it handling. I ate my Will Neff hot sauce. I got it. It's good. It's good. Will gave me 2 bottles. Maybe I should buy more. That's a good point. Okay, I'm sorry for being problematic, lesbian hot sauce. I'm annoying as fuck. I apologize. Circumcision was normalized by the Charles Kellogg. Yes, that Kellogg. Oh yeah, he thought that it would make us masturbate less. I'm sorry, Charles. It didn't work. Sorry, Charles. It didn't work. You'll love her. My For You page does show me. If I showed you my TikTok For You page, you guys would realize my TikTok thinks I'm awesome.
I am a 4-time chili pepper eating contest winner in China, and I just got back to the US and I saw that there was this Dave's Chicken Challenge where they eat the Reaper wing, and I was like,
oh,
okay.
This would be easy. This would be nothing. This would be nothing. Then do it, Mike. The only thing that sucks about extremely hot stuff is the next day. All right, we're still making fun of can we not get too distracted? I want to keep making fun of Asmongold for being Israel's biggest soldier.
only thing that they can do. They know they can't beat you. They know that you're winning. They know that the Chud, the year of the Chud, is so powerful, so they're trying to poison you by fixating on something that's not them. Stay focused. Stay focused, because they're not done yet. They're not done, and there are still too many of those people in the problem. And I understand you have problems with Israel. But all I'm saying is that those problems should be dealt with after these.
Donald Trump's economic approval rating hits new low. This is from a couple weeks ago. A third of Americans approve of the way Trump is handling the economy. Oh my God, we're going to win so much. We're going to win so much in the midterms. And then next at 2028, Asmongold is going to be wearing that pride shirt because he's ordered to by federal law.
Stay on target. They want to distract you with Israel because they don't want you to look at them. That's the reason why.
Asmongold says people that like Sneeko that say American soldiers are dying for Israel are insanely disrespectful. It's not disrespectful to say what's real. We wouldn't be in any wars in the Middle East right now if it wasn't for Israel. We withdrew from Afghanistan. We withdrew from Iraq. We were chilling. The only reason we're in any wars is because we're defending Israel, bro. We started fighting Yemen for Israel. We started attacking Iran for Israel. Like, that's reality, bro.
Under pressure conversationally, then don't tell American troops to go die for Israel.
Not dying for Israel, they're killing terrorists. And the moment that I feel like I'm under pressure, I instantly collapse. I also think that the entire concept of telling American soldiers that die in service that they're dying for Israel is like so profoundly and insanely disrespectful that I think that it kind of gives away the concept that, you know, a lot of the people that say that kind of stuff, they don't really respect American soldiers. They don't care about the military. They don't care about these soldiers' lives. They're just trying to, you know, minimize and make it look silly that they were killed for something that looks stupid.
I think sending American troops to get bombed for attacking Iran, which is a country that doesn't represent a threat to the U.S. at all, except if we attack them, causing them to close the Strait of Hormuz in order to exact a economic price on the rest of the world while their sovereignty is violated. And there was no attack that Iran did on us that caused us to attack Iran. We decided to do a sneak attack and bomb their religious leader in his home with his grandkids. So, like, all the things that have come out of that is from our aggression.
Under pressure conversationally, then don't tell American troops to go.
And again, America, I don't know if you know this, is really far away from the Middle East, and we produce our own energy. Like the United States of America, tomorrow, the president could come out tomorrow, Trump, and say, I'm going to spend $500 billion on building nuclear reactors and renewable energy and batteries and a new energy grid so that we never, ever have to buy any oil from the Middle East again. And that our energy system will be 100% renewable. And we never, ever, ever, ever have to worry about our energy system being undercut. And that would pay for it. But instead, he wants to spend another $500 billion doing what? Sending troops over there to fight for Israel. That's what it is, you fucking worm. Like, America has no existential threat. We could produce our own food. We could produce our own fossil fuels if we need them. We have the technology to do renewables and to do nuclear. We don't need anything from the Middle East. Not one barrel. Not one. But people like Asmongold have allowed us and are doing propaganda for Israel, which is making our country way worse off.
It's because the Iranian people were on Twitter and on social media begging, screaming, and crying for Trump to help them so they wouldn't be mass murdered by their own government. That's the reason why I changed the opinion.
Bro, you called in favor of America's government mass murdering Americans. Why the fuck do we pretend that you care about Iranians? By the way, the Iranians that are, that you were trying to quote help would want anything to do with you, bro. You're an Islamophobic racist.
That's the entire reason. You know what happened? We went in there, we nabbed Maduro, and it was nothing. We went in there and we bombed the shit out of them. We blew up their nuclear facilities like it was nothing. They had a protest, and the reason why I didn't think that we could attack them is because I didn't think it would work. But after we had a few of those things happen, and now they're at their weakest point that they're ever probably going to be, I think we finished the we finished the job. We kick them while they're down, and we stomp these fuckers out for good. They are terrorist supporters. They've always been terrorist supporters. They're not terrorist supporters. They're the terrorists themselves. Their own people are out there asking for us to help. Think about how bad it is in this country that you have bombs going off and you have videos being made of people saying thank you. How bad does your country have to be that you have people going out there saying thank you, Donald Trump, for bombing the shit out of our government?
I think what Asmongold is showing you here is that he's literally low IQ. Like, there's really no other way to put it. He's falling for bot networks on Twitter. And if you doubt there are bot networks, take a look at this. Here's the DGG bot network accidentally glitching out and posting on an unrelated post. Officer Nasty has a history of engaging critically with Destiny, Ethan Klein, and food shops. Recent responses to criticism have been noted. I've faced questions about interactions with minors and online campaigns. Like, look at how repetitive all these bots are. The shift in Aiden's approach to criticism after past campaigns with Kilo has been observed. Oops. Oops. All the DGG is now bots. Have been involved in online targeting. Experiencing feedback now highlights a contrast. Oh, look at all the bots. Amazing. So Asmongold basically fell for bot networks. Incredible.
They had to go and kill all of their people, and then after that, turn off the internet, so it wasn't obvious that there was an overwhelming, massive amount of people that are pushing for this. And I think that's the main difference. It's been an obvious difference. It's a huge difference.
Meanwhile, the United States just had decided that we just had a memorandum of understanding to pay them reparations.
Number one. Number two, dude, someone has to keep track of who's coming in. I'm gonna lose my fucking mind.
Why'd you link me this? What's this have to do with what I'm talking about? We're making fun of Asmongold. Let's keep making fun of Asmongold. Hold on. What's another one of his brilliant takes? All right, hold on. I got more. Okay, we already did that one. Oh, this one.
I think people don't really care about Asmongold's opinion on Israel at the end of the day. That's what it is. I don't think like the neo-Nazis care because they see him as a they see him as a launching pad for Nick Fuentes. Like, he has that clout, and he's very openly said like he's a funnel for Nick Fuentes. Like, he's actually actively trying to move his audience in the direction of Nick Fuentes. So obviously someone as clout obsessed as Nick Fuentes is never going to fucking turn around and shit on Asmongold and rock that boat for himself, even if he is supposedly at odds with Asmongold.
I do not want Iran to have a weapon. Bro, if Iran had a nuclear weapon, it would be the best thing to happen to world peace. Just like North Korea got a nuclear weapon, and then guess what? Nothing happened. All it did was prevent the United States from attacking North Korea and getting into a fucking war. At this point, Libya, for example, they gave up their nuke. They gave up their nuclear program, and what happened? We turned it into a slave state. It used to be the most developed country in Africa with a higher standard of living, and we turned it into a slave market for Al-Qaeda. So, if Iran had a nuke, they wouldn't be getting bombed, and we could just accept the reality that that is the government Like, if you're really worried about a country with a nuke, it's Pakistan. You know, the American ally that, you know, sells nuclear technology to shady ass motherfuckers. Iran worked with us to attack ISIS. Dirty little secret is part of the reason why ISIS was even defeated is because Donald Trump engaged in a treaty with Iran to fight ISIS.
Gold's very clear defense of Israel, right? Not that it matters. I mean, he gets to hit both angles. He gets to both say that he is like in support and actively aiding and abetting a neo-Nazi movement, but then he also gets to defend Israel this way, and therefore he will not receive a ban. Like, you can say whatever the fuck you want about how much Lebanese children deserve to die, as long as you're couching it as, well, they're fighting terrorism and I defend Israel, you can get away with it. Could you imagine anyone fucking running around and being like, Hezbollah, like, I'm not even going to say those words because I don't want it to get clipped, okay? But role reversal here, if I was talking about Hezbollah against the civilian population of Israel in the way that Asman has justified Israeli actions against the Lebanese population, I would not make it out. I would not make it out of this fucking the end of this sentence. I would get banned immediately. Okay. Not only would I get permanently banned off Twitch, I would be on the front pages of the New York Times and CNN and MSNBC and all these other platforms that would be like, see, this guy's a fucking dangerous radical. That's just how it goes. If you defend powerful groups and powerful entities, if you defend the American government, no matter how indecent the American government's actions are, you're not going to get in trouble. And the same with Israel. If you criticize the American government's actions, or God forbid, you criticize the Israeli government's actions, no matter how tame those criticisms are, it still doesn't matter. You're still going to be at the crosshairs of a lot of angst, animosity, enmity. They're going to demand that you get deplatformed. That's just how it is.
As it might have been 20 years ago. Not when we have access to live footage of the reality of what that terrorism results in every day, and our governments can't keep it under wraps. This channel is just a place people can go to have their feelings of racist bloodlust validated. It's a safe space. But if there is anyone watching that wants to actually engage with the facts critically, I would encourage them to consult any of the resources on screen now. That goes for Asmongold too. Read any of these reports on your stream if you want.
I mean, the idea that Asmongold knows there's a genocide. Asmongold understands there's a genocide. He's not confused, guys. He knows. He knows he's lying. In fact, he enjoys lying to you. He likes that his audience is stupid. It makes him feel superior. Like, you are looking at Asmongold, and what you need to recognize is that the guy is an enemy of humanity. He doesn't care. In fact, he encourages the genocide. He supports the genocide.
No.
Abolishing private prisons.
Absolutely.
No. Raising.
No. We need more private prisons.
So private prisons actually cost more per prisoner, and they cause more recidivism, which means when people go to private prisons, it ends up costing the taxpayer more, and they come out as hardened criminals. So by doing private prisons, you're actually making the crime problem worse, because they don't do anything to make prisoners like reflect on what they did, give them any skills so they can get out of prison and get a job and be a productive member of society. They involve like more trauma, more, it's about denying them basic human rights, which makes their mental health decline. So in all, you have more predators coming out of a private prison than when you sent them in. So it makes society worse. Because the more recidivism, the more profit. Because they make money when people are in prison. So if you made good citizens come out of prison who reflected on what they did wrong and changed, that would mean less profit. So he's stupid.
Taxes on billionaires.
Absolutely.
Raising the minimum wage.
Yup. I think it should be state.
Implementing the green.
I think it should be state. AKA every state that's a Republican, they never raise the minimum wage. Which results in what? More poverty, more crime, less development, more inequality. That's why Republican states are dog shit. They are fucking garbage. It's not like you can point to any red state and be like, that's really well run. Look at how well that state's doing. Even states that are absolutely full of natural resources and opportunity, they still suck dick.
Green New Deal.
Yep. No.
Ending Citizens United.
Yep. Yes.
Banning.
Citizens United is the only reason that any right winger has any chance of winning any election. If they had to legitimately appeal to regular people, they'd be fucking cooked.
Congressional stock trading.
Yes.
Yep. Ending America's war on Iran.
And these are easy. Yep.
Ending America's embargo on Cuba.
Nope.
Yep. Ending aid to Israel. Yep.
Ending aid to Israel. I don't know about that.
A free Palestine.
Oh my God! Oh. One of the richest countries in the world. It is our #1 aid country. The country that we've given the most aid to. Hammond Fist! Thank you for the 20 bucks. By the way, Chad, I forgot to shill. Holy shit, I forgot to shill. It's Friday. I forgot to shill. Why does he keep making that weird eyebrow movement? Whenever any of his brain cells are actually being forced to trigger, he has involuntary, like, facial twitches because it doesn't happen very often. Oh my God, it's Friday. What the fuck? I thought it was Thursday. Well, congratulations. It's Friday.
Palestine. Of course. Okay.
So this is it. So you have to say all the things.
Ending aid to Israel. Yep.
Ending aid to Israel. I don't know about that. Abolishing prosecution.
Is it Egypt #1? No. It's Israel. It's Israel. Especially since October 7th. And then there's the indirect aid. Like, one of the things that people don't understand is a lot of the military spending we do is actually to defend Israel. So we just spent another $100 billion in the war in Iran so far, according to the Pentagon. So that'll put the aid to Israel is well over $450 billion now. And that doesn't include like all the money that flows from American, like, you know, the Zionist organizations that give a bunch of like money and cash to so-called Israeli charities, which are really just slush funds for Israel. Like, we have literally given trillions of dollars worth of assets and money and support to Israel. Israel aid in 4 charts. Oh, amazing. How much Israel aid does how much US aid does Israel receive? Look at that. Egypt is #2, Afghanistan 3, South Vietnam, Iraq. It's like lost the war, lost this war, lost this war. Amazing. What military aid has the United States provided Israel since the October 7th attack? How does Israel use the aid? Arms sales. U.S. aid reportedly accounted for 20% of Israel's defense budget in the years before the Israel-Hamas war. Israel, like many other countries, also buys U.S. military products outside the FMF program. Currently, $500 million per year is slated for Israeli-U.S. joint missile defense programs, where the U.S. gives our research on missile defense to Israel. Quantitative military edge has been a conceptual backbone of U.S. military aid to Israel for decades. It was formally enshrined in U.S. law in 2008. It requires the U.S. government to maintain Israel's ability to defeat any credible conventional military threat from any individual state or possible coalition of states or from non-state actors while sustaining minimal damage and casualties. Under the 2008 law, the United States must ensure that any weapons it provides to other countries in the Middle East do not compromise Israel's QME. In several cases, this has required the U.S. to provide Israel with offsetting weaponry as part of larger regional arms sales. QME also ensured that Israel is the first in the region to receive access to the most sophisticated U.S. military weapons and platforms, such as the F-35 stealth fighter, of which Israel has 50. And that's from 2025. So you know it's gotten even worse since then. U.S. military is like $1 trillion a year and $5 billion on Israel. No, you're wrong. Again, sometimes we spend money on the Pentagon. Also, it's only been $1 trillion since Trump came into office. It used to be $600 billion. So we've already increased it 40%. And then he wants to increase it another 50% to 1.5 this year. So before Trump was in office, it was $600 billion. Now we're at $1 trillion. And when we talk about where do we spend the money, for example, U.S. war in Iran cost $100 billion so far. Here you go. Trump has blown more than $100 billion on the Iran war.
The weird thing where you're calling everything bad Israeli, I mean, I feel like this is just calling it Jewish with extra steps, right? I mean, like, what is the difference between calling something Israeli and calling something Jewish?
Oh, I'll explain it to you. Israel is a country and Jewish is a religion. So somebody could be Jewish and be anti-Israel. And somebody could be pro-Israel and not Jewish, like you. See what I mean? Like, there are different things. You could even be anti-Semitic and pro-Israel, Like you.
Because like a lot of times it's like, you know, he was like saying that like Ethan was like the most Israeli thing to do, or spiritually Israeli, with like suing people, and like that's a very, very common Jewish stereotype. So like whenever the, you know, Venn diagram.
Okay, what made it spiritually Israeli instead of Jewish is because Israel likes to censor speech that's critical of Israel. That has nothing to do with Judaism or Jewish traits. Are you confused? It's not Jewish. He's unironically being anti-Semitic by saying that Jewish people like to censor their critics. That's not true.
Of being spiritually Israeli and, you know, being a dirty Jew, right? You know, for the South.
Isn't criticizing the military spending an oxymoron? You live in the very center of the imperial court, filled to the brim with pillages from the third world. How do you think that happened? When the take here, let's meddle with Israel and spend $800 billion instead of $1 trillion. No, the United States military. Here, let me show you what I believe we should be doing by one of my friends, Claire Valdez, who is now a congresswoman from New York City. And here's the thing. America is not like Europe. America is not a frozen rock to the far north with very little in the way of natural resources. The United States is a wealthy, highly arable, varied, continental country with 350 million people. We don't need to pillage so-called the third world. That's insane. And in fact, like China has developed by avoiding pillaging. Now, there is some unequal exchange. There is some necessarily, like, you know, we need to do transfers, obviously, which is part of what the Green New Deal does, by the way. The Green New Deal, supported by AOC, involves a $300 billion aid package to developing countries to start to make up for the historical wrongs that were done. Where's my Claire post? Where the fuck is my Claire post? Did it get deleted? Like, what happened? I said I almost liked a hate post. What the fuck? Why can't I find it? The fuck? Oh, here it is. Okay.
About your platform is you call for de-escalating the U.S. Cold War posture towards China and also reducing U.S. military bases. And you put all of that in the context of climate change, which is so important. So I guess I wanted to ask you what that means in practice, especially as you see like every, you know, Pentagon paper written about how like the coming war with China is like the next most important thing to happen.
I think it goes back to what I was saying before. You know, I think there are talking heads and politicos who have a real vested interest in, you know, trying to foment a Cold War, maybe even a hot war. I don't think that the working class wins in either scenario. We have to be really focused on the things that are actually threats to humankind right now. Climate change, the possibility of future pandemics, and what that will require is real, true global cooperation and solidarity and being a good neighbor. You know, the United States should be a good neighbor to the rest of the world. We have, again, had this long history of extraction and violence, colonialism, and we can turn a page on that.
Unironically, guys, I think what Claire is saying came from our stream. Unironically, I think some of the stuff she's saying is from the conversation that we had. Like some of the rhetoric, like good neighbor and stuff, that is like stuff that I say. I mean, maybe there are other people that are saying it, and so I'm being egomaniac, but I'm pretty sure like that is from the conversations that we had here. You know, avoiding a Cold War with China. That was one of the very important points I brought up. The FDR, like the FDR good neighbor stuff, like a lot of the rhetoric style, that's similar to the stuff that we say here. So I feel like if it's not me that she got it from, which I'm not saying she did, it is part of the larger milieu that we are a part of. And like the stuff that we're doing is making a difference, taking credit.
Can draw down our military presence around the world.
That's right. It's all me. I did it. Claire is stealing my takes. No, I'm kidding.
We can show that we want to be a good neighbor. And in doing so, not only are we advancing, we're moving the ball on climate change, we're, you know, building relationships that I think will help, you know, like really build democracy around the world. But we'll also be bringing the resources back to our communities that we so desperately need. You know, we need hospitals and education. We need good union jobs. We need to be building, you know, climate resiliency here in the United States. All of that takes money, and right now we're just pouring it into bases around the world that have no purpose anymore. And I think we need to be signaling to the rest of the world that, you know, we want to be cooperative and we want to join hands in this moment when there are true existential threats to this planet.
You are usually the only one I hear with old socialist talking points. I mean, feel free to show me. Democrats are seething after yet another promise kept.
Have found that their voices have been ignored by those who can deliver change. That ends today. Part of that means changing how buses stop and start with transit signal priority, queue jumps, and yes, all door boarding. These improvements may sound technical, but they deliver change that is anything but. Less waiting, faster trips, and buses that arrive when they're supposed to. We are also making sure that bus lanes stay clear. By 2028, all 50 corridors will have automated camera enforcement because these lanes should do exactly what their name promises. They should be for buses. Now, we are not just improving our bus lanes, we are improving our buses too. The MTA will replace 40% of our aging fleet with 2,500 brand new vehicles. Taken together, these investments will increase speeds along our 50 priority corridors by 20% on average. That means riders will save up to 6 minutes every trip, up to 12 minutes every commute. I'm just going to check. We have 1 minute and 53 seconds left for me to hit this goal. Now, if you take the bus to work, that adds up fast. Within 6 months, you will have spent 24 fewer hours on the bus. By the time a year rolls around, you'll have saved more than 2 days of commuting time. That means breakfast with your family. It means having the time to argue balls and strikes at your kid's Little League game. It means getting home for bedtime. It means agreeing with your friends that Egypt were robbed yesterday. Above all, it means time returned to New Yorkers who don't have nearly enough of it. And as we do so, we are also ensuring that the time spent on our bus system is a little more pleasant. No longer will the majority of bus stops in New York City be a rusty pole and slab of concrete. That is not good enough. By the end of this year, we will install 100 new bus shelters citywide and 300 more by 2031. We will add benches and leaning bars at 875 bus stops each year, with seating guaranteed at every single bus stop in the city by 2035. And we will plant more trees around stops to provide shade and protection from the elements.
I mean, like, this shit is so obvious. And this is part of why putting socialists into power, it's not just the grand design of replacing the economic system, although that's very important. It is about making the physical experience of living better. No one thinks that deeply about policy except the left. Well, of course, because they're all, you know, they have the free market obsession. All right, chat. It is Friday. Do you know what that means? It means we have, ladies and gentlemen, movie night. This week, we are watching the 1974 novel and 1975 thriller, Jaws. One of the best. Oh my God. Okay. We're going to do the 50th anniversary trailer, not the original, because I'm sure it tells you the whole fucking movie. The 50th anniversary version of Jaws, a classic of Americana.
It's a beautiful day. The beaches are open, and people are having a wonderful time. Amity is a summer town. I don't think you appreciate the gut reaction people have to these things. You yell barracuda, you're racist, huh? You yell shark, we've got a panic on our hands on the 4th of July.
The villain of the movie, chat. Maybe a politician.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
What we are dealing with here is a perfect engine, an eating machine.
What a classic, dude. Classic legacy media. This is just a JD Vance ad. This is exactly what Vance sounds like when he speaks. I know, isn't it weird? So, ladies and gentlemen, we will be watching that for absolutely no money tonight on my Discord. You don't need to be a subscriber, although it would be nice. We're going to watch that at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. Megaphonics, what's up, brother? Oh, no. Whoops. I'm so sorry. I accidentally clicked on Hassan on my Chatterino. Oh, no. It was an accident. No. Oh, no. Oh, no, guys. I accidentally was looking at Hassan's chat. Oh, no. I'm so embarrassed. Oh, no. I got Hassan. I did Discord for Hassan. Oh, no. I did the wrong tab. Oh, God. I started copying Hassan's Discord. Oh, no. I never noticed. Oh, this is embarrassing. Oh, God. I'm so embarrassed. Oh, no. I was like, because in my Chatterino chat, I have Hassan's tab above mine. So like I have like Hassan, Struggle 4, Vio, you know, Yagoptic, Carter, etc., right? Austin Show, Caroline, Casey Tron. But Hassan's is like, so I have like two layers of tabs. Hassan's is right above mine, and I accidentally clicked on his when I was clicking over to Chatterino. I didn't realize. Oh no, it was an accident. Oh no. That's so cringe. At least I was spamming Hassan's Discord in his chat. At least I didn't spam my links. Jesus. A new data for progress poll shows leftist policies most effective to swing state voters. Oh yeah. Well, anyway, chat. So I posted on Hassan's chat. Yeah. It's not that big a deal. I didn't advertise my shit. That would have been really cringe. Anyway, come hang out on our Discord, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. Mike doing the fabled anti-ray. Thank you so much. Sending you guys, gals, non-binary pals over to VO. Thank you so much for all your support. I really appreciate it. And thank you guys, gals, non-binary pals. We're gonna free Palestine. Things are gonna get better. And obviously, we're gonna recover from the Plattner cringe. You know what I mean? We're gonna recover from Plattner cringe. You're gonna have to give me that L. You know, even the best prize fighter has a bad night. Mike Tyson got knocked out. You know, we'll recover. We're gonna learn our lesson, and we're gonna move on. Are you guys still talking about Graham Plattner? That guy's a weirdo. Yeah. All right, everybody, stay safe. Solidarity forever, my friends. Socialism will win. And join your local DSA. I'll see you tonight. Peace.